Now batting for the Reds, number 44, the shortstop, Ellie Cruz.
Here are your hosts, Ricky Logan and Roger Straz.
Welcome to the Red Hot Reds podcast. That's Ricky. I'm Roger. It is 8 o'clock-ish on a Sunday. We are live and we are back for 2026.
Let's go.
Welcome to 2026, everybody. Welcome to 2026, Ricky. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Unless you're, what's his name? From Curb Your Enthusiasm, Stan. You can't say Happy New Year anymore because it's past his deadline. What was his name? Forget his name anyway. But, so it's 2026, which means it is the year that the Reds are going to put it all together. They're going to win 162 and lose 0, and we're going to have all our resolutions come through, and we're all going to be able to, lose weight and get stronger and all that stuff, right? That's January. I have had a rough couple weeks with the flu right before Christmas, and then our kids kind of kept being sick, and then they got pneumonia. So I've had a heck of it last 2 weeks, Ricky. How you been?
Been okay. You were out of town the last couple of weeks, so you had how was your trip?
Well, that was the thing, is that we were so sick. We actually had to go to the hospital while away, and actually had to cut the trip short to come home so that way we can rest up in our own beds and stuff like that. So it ended up being fine. We saw family and whatnot, even though we weren't in the greatest of health, but everything's good now. Kids are, like we talked about before the show, kids are itching to go back to school because they're just irritating us and irritating themselves so much so that they need to get out of the house a little bit, I think a little bit more. So fingers crossed, no more snow cancellations, no delay or 2-hour delays or anything like that going forward. Let's get these kids in school, get this going, and let's get to February, where it's almost spring training, and that's crazy to think about.
Man,
it's less than 30 days away, obviously, or about 45 days away, because like mid-February. So man.
My son's birthday is the 19th, and I think it's 46 days away or something like that.
And they play.
He's keeping track. That's why I know.
Yeah, they play the first game 2 days after that, the 21st. So there's 48 days until there's actual Reds baseball being played.
Man.
Whether in an exhibition fashion or not, they'll be out there and you can see them. So that's exciting, I guess. That's it. The turn of the year is kind of cool in that respect, because now we get to look forward to Reds Fest, which is less than 12 days away. So shout out to Reds Fest getting back in 2026.
It's flying by.
Yeah, I always think that like January is a super long month because there's 31 days in December, then there's 31 days again in January. So sometimes it's just got to get through the month of January sometimes. But Reds Fest will help get that along. Arbitration figures, I think, are being exchanged this week for guys like Stevenson, McLean, who's now a Super 2.
I think Lodolo's in that too, right?
Yeah. Singer, probably going to get a big number. We'll see if they accept those numbers or not. Last year, I believe, just a quick reference, the arbitration went really quickly. They offered money that those players just signed on the dotted line. They accepted it. It was more than enough for a lot of those guys. And I think that the Reds were pretty generous. There wasn't any, it can get ugly. What I've heard from arbitration hearings, just to recap, is that if there is anything that goes to the arbiter, the third-party person who basically determines what this player is worth, it can get ugly, because if they think that they need, a higher number for the player, for example, and the management of the Reds don't agree, then they start pulling out all the flaws of the player, et cetera, and whatnot. So hopefully it doesn't come to that.
Nasty.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't come to that. I can't say I've heard of a really bad arbitration fight for a Reds player in a long time. We have to go back.
Yeah, and the only thing I could think of was just the India trade talks. It just felt like those went on forever. Like, it was always like, yeah, we're going to keep him. And then as soon as arbitration came around, it's like, well, he's a really good player. We can move on from him, but he's not going to play second base because we got Matt McLean, and he's not going to hit the top of the order. And it's like, it's Crawl putting his feet in his mouth, I guess. But I don't know.
We're used to that. We're used to that, and it seems like at least for our Christmas and our New Year, there wasn't any, silly Crawl quotes, which we're thankful for that. But there was some news to launch into it, Ricky. But actually, sorry, before we launch into that, we're going to be talking about bubble players. We got some news to run through. But before that, I want to thank All Gloves Off Sports Media. Please like, subscribe, comment to our YouTube, to our X, to our Instagram, to Facebook as well. We also have a sponsor, fuelyourbattle.com, Battle Bites. Go to fuelyourbattle.com, All Gloves Off 10 as a promo code, 10% off your order. We really appreciate them being the sponsor for not just us, but all the channels, all the shows on our channel for All Gloves Off Sports Media Venture. And we're also very thankful for them because they give a part of their profits to the Wounded Warrior Project. So you help them, you help the Wounded Warrior Project as well with every order that you purchase. So shout out to them, and really thankful for that. But Ricky also has been putting stuff out there on Cincinnati Reds Talk just to promote him at the top of the show as well. Check his stuff out. For that, I think we also you've been growing a lot in that respect, right? And getting lots of viewers and commenters and all that, which is great.
Yeah, I posted your Twitter post, post your hot take for 2026, and that went crazy in a Reds Facebook group. I think it had like almost 160 comments. It was wild.
Yeah, we can get to that in a second after we get through the news a little bit. Yeah, that we could talk about even probably some of the craziest comments that came out on Facebook comment of the day type of style. But yeah, we also want to thank you for everyone's support in 2025. I know that we started, right before the season started in March, and it's been about 9 months or so of us doing this, and we're really appreciative of everyone following us, commenting, interacting with us. We are, Reds fans that want to give you the best content that's not too silly, not too smart, because we're not the smartest guys out here with analytics and whatnot, but we're not trying we're trying to entertain and also be informative, because there's a lot goes on in 12 months of a Reds season, and we're starting to find that out. I even like the fall ball stuff and everything like that I was covering and whatnot, kind of fallen off with all the sickness and traveling and whatnot. So I'll try to get back to that in the new year and get back to you guys about that. But we'll also talk about Pablo Nunez and whatnot later in the show, because he's been having a spectacular season down under. But yeah, thank you for everyone that's come out and supported us one way or the other, on Facebook, on X, on YouTube, on Spotify and Apple. We get a lot of support there as well, and we're trying to expand and get a little bit better with this technology as well. Try to own our own RSS feed and whatnot, so hopefully we'll be able to get you video podcasts in the future. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, you don't give yourself enough credit with your posting the audio clips and stuff like that. So you're the hand behind all that.
I try. It's weird to try to figure out what the algorithm wants. So try to feed the algorithm as much as we want. So we appreciate everyone feeding their algorithm with our stuff, silly, smart, or whatever in between that we do around here. Like our last episode, the top 10 Reds moments of the season. Really appreciate that. Like that video got like 100 views right off the bat. So that's great for us. We want to continue to expand for you and give you good content. Hopefully down the road, Reds Fest as well. Some exclusive content with that. So shout out to Ricky as well behind the scenes doing all the technical stuff as well. So we're really thankful for you, Ricky, this last 2025 year.
It's been fun. I didn't know where this was going. I think we talked about that at the end of the last show we did, but it's something I never imagined would be what it is, and just having a blast doing it. And at the end of the day, we're just fans that just live and die by this team. We try not to, because it sucks. We die most of the time, but sometimes it just takes one time living to make it right.
Yeah, I'd say 2025 went a lot better for Reds fans than, say, Bengals fans. But not as good as your Miami fan. So shout out to the U for having.
Hey, we went through a stretch. right.
Yeah. There was, yeah, I think they put on the graphic there, the last 4 teams. The only team to have gone to a national championship in the last 25 years was the U in 2001. So we're talking about slim pickings we're going to have a new champion, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, Miami hasn't been relevant since the team, you know. But I think I think a lot of people can say that the 01 team is arguably the greatest team of all time. You could throw 2019 LSU. I think it was whatever that 2009 or 2012 Alabama team was pretty good.
Yeah.
There's some good teams, but that Miami team was just special.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't forget that Ohio State team with Craig Krenslin. All right.
They ruined it, man.
Yeah. Sorry to bring that up. But yeah, shout out to Ohio State getting their butts kicked by Miami on New Year's Eve. Not necessarily too great on New Year's Eve the last couple times out there for the Buckeyes, but not a Buckeyes podcast. But we have some news for you. The Reds made some deals. They traded for a guy and they signed a guy. Basically, kind of the Reds. I guess I think Ricky, you would probably put it like the bargain bin type of deals. You know, I mean, it's not the Kyle Schwarbers of the world. It's not even the Gino Suarez's of the world in terms of signings and trades. But we did get solid guys that have solid splits and can be serviceable in the outfield. Those 2 guys, JJ Bleday, he was I think free agent signing, right, 1 year. And they traded Dane Myers for Ethan O'Donnell, I believe, right? Before Christmas or right after Christmas, or it was right after Christmas, right? The 22nd. But anyway,
it was was they both on the same day, right?
They were close. I feel like they're very, if not the same day, back to back or whatnot. But it was in that period that we were off, so we're catching up. Sorry, it's a bit old news for a lot of people, but we wanted to highlight that because
we got thoughts.
Yeah, it kind of presents an interesting outfield. If these 2 guys are major league ready talent to contribute to this ball club, you know, Will Benson comes to mind, Reese Hines comes to mind, even like a Gavin Lux. Where does he fit in? Obviously, there was, you know, that Bleacher Report projection of the starting lineup, but yeah, I don't know. We got thoughts on that too. I guess, Ricky, what were your first reactions when you heard of JJ Bleday, being signed, and then the Reds going out and getting Dane Myers?
Part of me was a little disappointed, just based off of, well, the Luis Robert trade talks. I mean, I guess we could talk about that a little bit later too. How I think it was Gordon Whitmire had said, you know, a deal could get done by the end of this week. And then a couple of days later, there's a deal, and it's not for Luis Robert, which is fine, I guess. I'm not saying I'm super hyped up about Luis Robert, but you see the potential of who Luis Robert can be compared to who JJ Bleday can be, and I kind of like what I see out of Luis Robert a little bit more. But I now that it's settled and we're about a week post signing and post trade, I'm all right with it. 2024, he was a 2.1 WAR player, and for context, his career WAR is negative 0.3. So he's had 1 really decent year and 3 really bad years. He also played in Oakland for a while, and that's not really a hitter's ballpark compared to Great American Ballpark and the NL Central and a lot of the National League, frankly. He's a line drive hitter, and that's what Nick Krall wants. And, you know, if he can somewhat replicate 2024, I think he could do, I don't want to say special, but I think he could do something pretty great. So I'm okay. And then Dane Myers, like, Ethan O'Donnell has kind of been falling down the prospect rankings here over the last couple of years. And funny enough, when he got acquired by Miami, he's not even ranked on their system. And I think he was 18th in ours. So I don't know if that's a telling for how good their system is, or if it's, was he going to fall off of ours anyway kind of thing. But, Dane Myers has really good defense. He's got some speed. He's got some pop in his bat. But overall, I mean, I'm just confused by why we're signing these guys and we're not giving guys like Benson and Reese Hines a chance when we see the power that Hines has and the power that Benson has. And they're both pretty quick guys, too. So it's not like they're slouches. And they're honestly pretty good defensively. So are we just anti-lifting the ball? It's just what it feels like.
It would appear that way, yeah. I see what you're saying for sure. It does present the conundrum that we've been wrestling with, it feels like the whole 2025 season of, is Benson, is Hines going to get a chance? And I guess you could say they did this year to an extent, but not consistently enough to our liking in terms of we know what 2023 Benson looked like, right? Like we know what Reese Hines looked like in the minors this year. Yeah, is it a philosophical thing that's really holding these two back? Is it a thing where Tito has kind of a issue with Benson because he kind of knows all his flaws. He's seen him all the way through basically since he was back there in Cleveland with him and through the minors system there and seeing his long levers and strikeout rates and whatnot. But there's so many guys in this team that have swing issues and whatnot. I just don't, I guess, I don't understand if – I guess this is the thing. We talked about this, obviously, about offseason stuff, like potential guys that could get traded easily, right? Like, and Benson seemed like a big candidate for that. Doesn't this even say it even louder? Like, we're gonna platoon, like Marte, Friedel. I mean, they said that Dane Myers can be like a replacement for Friedel in center, and you got that comment in the offseason from Krall or Tito, I forget exactly, that said that Friedel played too much this year. So maybe there's room for Dane Myers on this roster with or without Benson, in the mix for that. But then you also got a guy like Lux, who plays left field, where Benson could fit in, or where Bleday is kind of figured to be on that opening day roster. And then a guy that they're really high on that we haven't even really talked about is Blake Dunn. And we're going to talk about these bubble guys a lot more in the meat of this show. But like, it just feels like there's a lot of guys that are competing, and it may just end up being because maybe they can't find a trade partner, or maybe they don't want to exactly move off of Hines and Benson, is that they might just toil in the minors, much like how Hines did this year, right? And some other guys. But it's kind of looking that way. I don't know. It made sense in terms of some of the splits I think that Bleday's got against is it lefties? He hits well. So like it makes sense in terms of those things, but like overall, it feels like we're crowding our infield or our outfield with, like we've said before, 4A guys. Guys that aren't like. I mean, we feel pretty confident about Marte being the lockdown starting right fielder, right? We feel good if healthy. TJ Friedel starting center. Left field, I guess, is really up for grabs with Austin Hayes moving on and him kind of not really wowing us or just staying healthy enough to wow us. I mean, he did wow us when he was healthy as well, but that's another thing. It's like I'm not exactly sure the injury history on either of these guys, Bleday or Dane Myers, but if they're just platoon guys, then we're running out of spots on this roster for anybody that's kind of on the bubble. So it just causes, I think, a pileup of guys that you're just kind of like, I don't know, or maybe that's a philosophy. Maybe the Reds are like, hey, there's these 5 guys playing for 4 outfield spots or 6 outfield spots. I forget how many guys we've mentioned, but like, who's going to take it? Like, who's going to be the guy that's going to go out in spring training, rake, do the things that the organization asks them to do, and earn their spot? Maybe it's like a tryout. Maybe all these guys are out here. Maybe that's why it's a 1-year deal for Bleday. Maybe that's why Dane Myers was acquired so easily, is that they're just like, hey, if you don't work out, maybe we'll DFA you because you don't have a roster spot anymore in this team. That may be the situation. And that could be the situation with even Hines and Benson, is that they may get sent elsewhere.
Yeah, it's like I look at Hines' numbers, and he's only going to be in his age 25 season this year, right? And he's still considered young for AAA. I think Baseball Reference has him at -2 1/3 years below average for AAA. He hit 303, slugged 563. That was a 921 OPS. He had a 2020 season. Like, that should have been like, hey man, we're going to bring you up when the rosters expand, and you're going to help power us our way into the playoffs. Instead, they relied on a rookie in Sal Stewart, which I'm glad they did. Sal deserved it. I'm not saying he didn't, but that's a lot of pressure to put on a kid that hasn't played yet and learned the new position as well. So I hate that it's coming down to, Hines has played, let's see if I can do the quick math. He played 24 games in 2024, 15 games this past season. Yeah, that's less than 40 games. Like, what are we doing? That's like what, 39 games as a major league player.
Yeah.
That's not enough time to cut the leash off of somebody who, wins not rookie of the week. He wins player of the week in his first week in the majors. How many times does that happen? Like, it just can't be a lot. And Benson, 2023, he comes up, he's atrocious, goes down to the minor leagues, works on his swing, comes up in the end of May, gets hot, that infamous first career home run, the walk-off against the Dodgers. I believe that was Ellie's debut game, if I remember right. If not, it was close because it was against the Dodgers.
Yeah, I say June 6th, 2023 was his debut, so we could probably fact check that if anybody's out there.
Yeah.
Or we can do it quickly.
It sounds right, but regardless, you're talking about less than 2 full years of playing for Will Benson as well. And he's only 27, so it's like you're cutting the leash short on a guy with more potential in Will Benson than what Blade has, and you're giving Blade the shot over what I would argue is more potential out of Benson and Hines.
Yeah. I don't know. This is just a random thought I had. Maybe we save it for the the section for our guys in the bubble category that we're calling it.
Yeah, I got one thing too that I'll add when you're done.
Yeah, is that there's guys in our system that are ranked in the org chart of top 30 prospects, and I don't think Reese Hines has played enough to be considered not a rookie, right? Like, he hasn't had enough service time as far as I can tell. So why is he not even on the top 30 chart? Like, is it like a situation where they just don't value him at all? I don't know. It's just a random thought that
I think it's just because I think he technically graduated.
Oh, did he?
Like,
he made his debut.
Yeah, I think so.
The clock started.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but they still have guys like Rhett Lauder. His clock started in 2023 as well, or 2024. Right. So, like, that's what I'm talking about. Anyway, like I said, this is like a question for how they make these top 30 charts, and it's not like
that'd be a good question. I'll have to. I'll dig around on that.
Yeah.
My thing I wanted to add too is, like, if you're gonna move on from Benson, if you're gonna ride with Blade, right? You have a hitter in Blade who hits good against lefties, and you have a hitter in Hines that hits good against righties. Like, it's kind of like the reverse splits lineup. I think that could work. I don't see them giving Hines the chance. I mean, I think he'd have to go out and hit like 500 in spring training to have like a legit chance. So I don't see what they're doing with him. I don't understand it.
Hopefully it'll become more clear in spring training, but we'll talk about him a little bit more later. We talked a little bit about arbitration deals. I don't know, Ricky, have any thoughts here? Like, you think they're just going to, give him money and then all these guys are going to sign? Do you think there's going to be some guys I think the non-tender period already is passed for that deadline, so we know for sure they're going to at least offer deals. You think there are any guys that are going to possibly be, I don't know, I feel like the Reds are going to try not to make too much drama, especially right before potentially, like them to show up for Reds Fest. So I don't know if you get different thoughts on the arbitration stuff coming this week, but I think it might be a pretty quiet week in terms of that.
Yeah, based off of comments that I've seen from Crawl, it's like the reason they're not going after any expensive free agents other than Kyle Schwarber is they kind of have a figure in mind of what they're going to go for with arbitration. So I think they're just going to give people what they want, basically, unless they give extensions. We're not seeing any news of a Stevenson extension at all. Lodolo, I think he's got a pretty hefty agent to deal with, right? Is he a Boris client? If not, he's got a good agent regardless, I believe. But I kind of got a take for you. I've been stewing this in my brain for the last, I don't know, day or two.
Okay.
Do you see, let's see, do you see a world where they try to trade Lodolo and extend Singer?
No, not the second part at least. I think it's going to be a situation where I think they're going to give Singer his arbitration money and just kind of like a Nick Martinez, a Zach Littell, and say thank you for your service. We'll see you again, on the other side of the field when they potentially match up again. It says here Lodolo's got Excel Sports Management as his agent, so not a Boris guy. So thankful for that. Otherwise, I don't know. Okay, we got to figure out if we can get guys that don't have Boris clients in this organization. But yeah, I don't see the Stevenson's extension either happening. I mean, the Ben Rortfield question hasn't really been answered either in terms of like, what does this look like for a roster? I know Bryce Spalding, who we follow on X and whatever, put out his roster and whatnot, and Rortfield wasn't in 25-man, but he's like right there. So I don't know exactly how he fits in this organization. I don't think he has options, right? So I don't think he's going to be optioned down to AAA and be the AAA catcher as far as I know. I think he's been in Major League Baseball too long, or maybe I'm thinking I can't remember. He's like in 29, 28 age range. Yeah. So he maybe he has options. I should have looked that up before I start talking about this, but it doesn't seem like a Stevenson a trade. I don't think is happening either until possibly after Reds Fest, because I think he's slated to show up. So
yeah,
that's kind of a real Bush League move, even for the Castellini and Crawl company to do that. But no, I can't see that. I think it's just arbitration money all around, and try to ride out this 6-year Ellie window with balancing the budget. That's
Is it even going to be 6 years? Because that's what worries me about the Ellie thing is. I think he's arbitration eligible this coming off season, I think and that number's going to climb a lot.
Well, that's why they're saving money now, Ricky.
they're saving money for the arbitration numbers for him, because I think Vladdy had the highest arbitration number 2 years ago, and it was like 25 million, and that was like his second year of arbitration.
Is that right? No wonder why he got an extension right away. It's probably
because they were looking at probably like 30 million for an arbitration, which is insane. I don't. The only reason I brought it up is Singer's 2 years older, but I think an extension would be cheaper for Singer, and you would get more out of Lodolo in a trade.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I'm thinking. I don't want to see either one go, honestly, this year. I mean, Singer, just because you're going to lose him at the end of the year, I could see trying to get something for him, but I don't know. Like, I'm not saying trade Stevenson, but I find it odd that nothing is coming out of that. And you sign a catcher, you acquire a catcher, you DFA a catcher. Now there would have been 4 catchers on the system. They let who was his name? Made his debut this past season.
Will Banfield,
yeah. They DFA'd him, and I don't think he's signed anywhere else yet.
No, he signed a minor league deal back. Did
he? Okay, yeah. So I mean, he is a major league ready catcher, So I mean, like they have. It sounds crazy. They have options to replace him. Not good options. I'm not saying they're good options, but it's odd to me. I just don't understand what they're doing.
For sure. Yeah, and like Karen's saying, somebody's Got to go. Too many cooks in the kitchen. And I know the Reds have carried 3 catchers in the past, and that's not ideal, obviously. But hey, you know what? I don't know. It's kind of interesting that they would keep Rortfeld around and kind of I don't know. They made a trade for him, right? Like it wasn't like they just signed him off the bargain bin just because he was looking for a team. So they obviously valued him to some extent to move some assets for him. So we'll see. The arbitration stuff coming soon. We'll probably get a report. Usually around this time of year, I think there's a report that comes out stating that either guys have accepted their arbitration numbers or not, or whatever. So we'll see. Shout out to Mike as well. Thanks for showing up, Mike. First show of 2026. Yeah, it's crazy. It's 2026 already, which is a big year. World Baseball Classic this year, World Cup this year, and the World Series for the Reds, right?
Yep. So, all the above.
A big year in 2026.
And a national title.
Oh, yeah, and the U. The U is back. Sorry, Mike, for the Ohio State reference earlier. You probably missed it. So,
hey, I'm also a Miami baseball fan, so shout out Yasmani Grandal and Yonder Alonso and
A-Rod,
Dominic Patelli, A-Rod. Like that's a pipeline for major league talent.
Not like East Carolina University, though.
Yeah.
Never forget. It's the Pirates. Ryan McChrystal and Trey Savage, man. And a bunch of other guys. Connor Norby's out of there, too. So it's like a
pipeline.
Current pipeline right now. So shout out to ECU and whatnot. So, yeah. Any other thoughts about arbitration before? I think we'll talk about the boldest take of 2026 that went viral a bit. We got some even comments even on our Facebook page, if you can believe that. And we got some on our X account. So that was nice. Thank you for everyone reaching out and giving boldest take. I think even Mike even had a take. If I remember right, I think he said Hunter Green starting the All-Star game in 2026. What was it going to be? Philly, I think. So shout out to Hunter Green working on a new pitch and going to be starting the All-Star game according to Mike Valentine. So that'd be awesome to see that coming in the Midsummer Classic. But yeah, Ricky, I don't know if you got any comments locked and loaded. I know there was some
scrolling through.
I know there were some that were real positive, which we love. And there's some going out there for the lulls, for the jokes as well, which is great as well. But a lot of people also kind of going with the, regression talk, which is not good to hear, but it happens. It happens. And oh, yeah, I forgot. That was one other thought I had. I don't think they're going to really extend Singer because I think he would be a prime candidate if the Reds struggle out the gate and struggle past the All-Star break. He could be a big trade candidate for a team that needs arms, for the playoff push.
Yeah.
So I would think that he would get his arbitration money and be a guy that if they need to trade and get some prospects out of him, he'd be one of those guys, kind of like a Nick Martinez was kind of last year, but they obviously needed him enough to make their own playoff push. So that was nice at least. Hopefully that's not the case. I'm just saying he's kind of in that Nick Martinez category where, past his prime, where is he on the other side of 30 and not necessarily gonna want to be extended, or the Reds probably don't want to extend because they have the philosophy of draft and develop. I don't know, Ricky.
Yeah.
Nick Paul's a big draft and develop guy. So.
Yeah, well, except we've done really bad at that up until about 4 years ago.
Yeah, so don't look past 4 years ago, everybody. Then you'll feel better. But anyway, I
feel a lot better when Austin Hendrick and oh man, why am I blanking on his name?
AAA guys? Are you talking about?
Yeah, he was in Chattanooga last year. You know who I'm talking about? Speedster, got some power.
Jay Allen?
Jay Allen, yes. When we say Jay Allen and Austin Hendrick get called up, then we can start talking about draft and develop. Because it's been taking them a long time.
Yeah.
So I got a couple pulled up here. I'll scroll through a couple, and then if you have some you want to talk about, I'll find some more. But
yeah, sure.
I'll start with a positive. This person said Noelvi Marte hits 25 home runs, and Matt McLean bounces back an average at plate around 270. So 270 average and 25 home runs for Marte.
Sounds like an all-star appearance to me.
It does. 75 and 87. Front office gets an F- this offseason. Shame on them.
Naturally.
McLean, Marte, Steer, 30 home runs, bat 300, playoff round, go Reds. Ellie, 30, 100, 315, 65 steals. Don't know what that means, but it sounds awesome.
Okay.
We will be 77 and 85. The front office refuses to put in any effort into improving for now. They think adding a Luis Robert will take us over the top, which it won't. We will finish 2 games over 500 and eliminated first round as a wild card. Bold take. We go on a heater. Multiple players with 15-game hitting streaks, win 90 games, throw a no-hitter, and take the division. Shout out Sully on that one.
Okay. Yeah.
And let me find one last wild one. Same team, same problems. Only difference is the Pirates made some good moves in the offseason, so they will finish before us in the standings.
That's pretty bold. Especially
shout out Greg, who said wire to wire.
Yeah. Hey, if we can catch fire and go wire to wire, there's got to be a lot of guys having career years, which I feel like it's kind of – I feel like it's what like the organization's kind of like banking on in some sort of weird way. It's like a bunch of these guys have had – McLean's had down years. CES has down year. Like a bunch of guys that are like – Blade, Dane Myers. Like they're like almost like there's going to be one year where everyone like bounces back. And then everyone's like at the top peak of their powers and whatnot. And I got a stat of the day before I guess I launched into my comments, it blew my mind when I first found this a while back. And I marked this day because this day is an important day. So today is January 4th, 2026, right? And on this day, Elly De La Cruz is 23 years old and 358 days old. Okay? Do you know how old Joey Votto was when he made his debut for the Reds?
Was he like 26?
He was 23 years old, 359 days old. So Elly, who just turned that age that Votto was when he made his debut in 2007, has had 3 full seasons under his belt. And I'm not just saying that because, I'm trying to say that he's better than Votto. I'm just saying he's well ahead of schedule, which hopefully means in the long run that the Reds are going to have a guy who's going to be at the peak of his powers this year, next year, and the year after. Obviously, that falls into that arbitration range that we already talked about. So, like this window, I guess, is we're going to be talking about probably for a long time, has to be kind of capitalized on because this guy he's about to realize how good of a baseball player could be. Obviously, he's got flaws. Yeah. I'm not saying he's perfect. You know what I mean?
Joey Votto had flaws his first couple of years too.
Exactly. And Joey Votto was this he's the same age as Elly is right now when he made his debut.
Yeah.
Not like he'd been.
And that was in what, September of 2006?
September 4th, 2007. Before the iPhone was invented. So
yeah, and I guess to give you some more positive notes on some players on this team too is Chase Petty is younger than that. Noelvi Marte is younger than that. Let's see. Chase Burns is younger than that. Rhett Lauder's younger than that. So, hey man, like there's a lot of young talent on this team that has a lot of room to grow, and like we got a taste of what Chase Burns could be, and Hunter Green just turned 26 or about to turn 26.
Yeah.
And he's I think he's got Cy Young ceiling. So I mean like it's there if everything goes right, this team could be a 100-win team. It's just things have to go right for it to happen. And I'm not going to say this team. I will say there's players on this team that if things go right and they build around those players, they could have a 100-win team. You can't rely on signing J.J. Bleday and trading for Dane Myers and signing the catcher they got from the Dodgers. Like you got to have Stevenson be on his game. You got to have your starting rotation and just do what they've been doing. And if Elly can be the player that we think he can be, the player that Marte we think he could be, Friedel can be just a really solid leadoff player. And I don't know, man. Like, just I think the Central's wide open. the Brewers aren't going to be the Brewers forever. I don't see how they make that last. It doesn't seem right. They don't have like the best players, and Yelich is getting older, and I don't know how they keep doing it. And the Cubs haven't been spending, and it's not like they've been killing it prospect wise either. They have some good prospects, but I don't know. Like the Pirates, I think we're getting really close to a 2009 through 2014 kind of thing where we're seeing the Pirates and the Reds could soon flip and be the two top teams in the division. Sounds crazy, but when you we're not a Pirates podcast, but you have Paul Skeens, it was a Bubba Chandler, the shortstop they got coming up, O'Neal Cruz, Henry David, like they have really good, like the Brian Reynolds. They have a lot of really good players that, if things click, they could do something crazy and go out and win 85 games. And the Reds have all the talent in the world to go out and win 85 to 90 games next year if things click. And the Cardinals, like, now's the time to pounce. The Cardinals are going to be down. I don't know, like there's a chance you could see like the Reds, Pirates, Cubs be the top three, and then the Brewers, and then the Cardinals. Like I could see that happening really soon.
Yeah, but the thing that window might be short. You got to, like you said, the Cardinals are down, so you can't wait for them to stay down. We can't always expect the Brewers to kind of potentially fall off a cliff, because they're falling off a cliff could be 85 to 90 wins, right? Or at least them have a down year, or whatever you want to call it. The Cubs, I don't know, man. I feel like they might be poised for a down year because they, like you said, for some reason don't want to get into the free agent game. They have decent prospects, like that Matt Shaw that came up is pretty decent. PCA has been decent, but like I don't know exactly what pitching stuff they got. I mean, they got Justin Steele coming back this year, but like the window has to. And the thing you said that we got to point out, if you build around Hunter and Ellie, that's an if for this organization. That's an if. It's not necessarily going the way that the fans want it to go, obviously, at least for this offseason. But I think someone actually in the comments that I've found, I can't remember exactly who it was or whatnot, is the Reds need to kind of model the Royals of the early 2010s as they built their roster for that 2014 World Series appearance and then subsequent 2015 World Series win, and kind of you got to keep pushing it. This budget talk's got to stop. Like they got to literally just say, hey, we're going to increase the budget smartly with players that are going to make this team better over the long term and the now. Something like that. That kind of talk, every GM can say that, right? Obviously, if you don't deliver, that's another thing. But you can't say this balance the budget nonsense. Nobody's buying that.
Yeah, one last thing I wanted to add to this, and then we can move on to your comments that you have. Yeah. Bleacher Report put out their projected opening day lineup, and I'll read through it. Center field leading off TJ Friedl, right field batting second Noelvi Marte, shortstop batting third Ellie De La Cruz, first base Spencer Steer, DH Gavin Lux, catcher Tyler Stevenson, left field JJ Bleday, third base Ke'Bryan Hayes, second base Matt McLean batting ninth. If you were to find the way, let's just say the Jamer Candelario contract didn't happen, we would have had $20 million, $18 million to spend this offseason. That probably gets Schwarber here, I would think, if you were to offer the same contract exactly the way the Phillies did it. No upfront, no backload, none of that stuff. Hypothetically, Schwarber signs, right? You put Spencer Steer in left field, you put Sal Stewart at first base, and then you trade Gavin Lux, and then you have Schwarber as your DH. That lineup is so much better than what I'm reading right now. Yeah,
it'd be nice to be,
as Trace Fowler says, if it's ifs and ends, we're candy and butts. If it's ifs and buts, we're candy and nuts. We'd all have a jolly good time. And
yeah,
didn't happen.
Yeah, and that's why it's a bit disappointing to say the comments that came out this offseason, to see the moves that just happened just most recently with Leday and Myers and whatnot. Unless there's something they else got cooked up or they got, the one thing you did allude to, the Lewis Robert stuff, is that the rumor is that the White Sox were just asking for too much, which I feel like they said that in the past before. So I guess we can at least rest in the Reds organization are not going to be completely selling the farm, because it's supposedly Chase Petty and Hector were supposed to be in the deal for Robert, and also a pick, a compensatory pick. Yeah. So like, it's a lot. It's a lot. Even if it is for a guy who's got high upside, the window would have to be win now in 2020.
Yeah, I think I texted you and I said Hector Rodriguez could be the same player that Robert could be this year. So I think, and you have youth on his side, so I'm not moving him.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, let's get back to comments, because we really appreciate you guys interacting with us. A lot of people predicting Noelvi Marte breakout years.
You would have said that a year ago. You would have thought we were crazy.
Yeah, time to change. New facts, new opinions. Like a Marte 25 homers, 30 stolen bases. We got Hunter Green staying healthy and pitching 25, 30 games. Would love to see that, especially because it's slap in the face all that nonsense that happened supposedly in June, July, when he was having those rehab starts, and the organization was a bit, giving him some pressure or whatnot. So shout out. Malachi Hayes said that about Hunter Green shutting up his haters. So
I like that.
So another guy, TL the Dude, says CES coming back healthy for 25 or more home runs. And unfortunately, I had to put water on his parade because I said I could see that happening in the minors. I was like, sorry. But if he does in the majors, he can highlight that. He can bookmark that tweet. CES, go ahead. And then shout out Roger Fletcher on Twitter. He follows us. Ellie having a 44 season, but the Reds still not having enough offense. And that's what you basically said with that lineup you put out there. Yeah. No one's protecting Ellie. Like, I get it. Lux will do his darndest, but that's not the protection we're talking about.
I mean, if you have Marte batting second, you can have Marte having a really good year because Ellie's protecting Marte.
Exactly.
But I mean, you got Spencer Steer, Gavin Lux, and Tyler Stevenson as your backups behind Ellie. And unless you're batting Ellie second and Marte leading off, and then you flip into a second leadoff hitter, and you have Friedel batting ninth. But I kind of like Friedel leading off, at least over the last 2 years. Yeah, it's like I feel like they have to do something. Like, I feel like DH resigns, DH Will Benson. Like, give some thump. Like, how many home runs did Gavin Lux have last year?
3 or 4.
And you got him DHing batting fifth.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't scream. Like, you remember the days when, like, the DH was your 35 home run guy? And, yeah, he might not have hit 300 back when guys were always hitting 300. But he was going to hit you 35 home runs. He was your power bat, usually your older player. Like, I've been posting some players on Twitter over the last couple days, and I posted Jay Bruce's final home run in Great American Ballpark today. He had 25 home runs at the All-Star break the year they traded him, and we haven't had a guy hit 25 home runs in a year, if you exclude Ellie, since 2022.
2021,
well, I think.
Outfield, yeah. We haven't had an outfield hit 25 plus since Castellanos in 2021.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think that's, and then, I think that's about it.
So Bruce that was 2016. So he had 25 at the All-Star break. Let's see. Zach Cozart in 2017 had 24 as a shortstop. Like, as you're not traditional power hitting player, right? Like, you have a guy like him hitting 24 home runs, so we can't. Like, Spencer Steer's barely getting there.
Yeah.
Lux for sure is not getting there. I I think Steve Offenbaker's dream of Stevenson hitting 40 home runs, I think that might be dead. I don't think he hits 20, and Bleday's going to have to hit a lot of line drives to hit 25. I don't know. Unless Ke'Bryan Hayes figures it out and becomes a league average hitter.
Last comment from our guy Fred said that the Reds will have 4+ players hit 25 home runs or more. Chris Valika is going to flip the script and let him rip. So that I would like to see.
That's great.
So yeah, thank you for everyone that did all those comments. We appreciate it. I know that it may have got a little bit contentious, I guess, because some people probably air in their Reds grievances on that page and whatnot. But hey, you know what? If we get it out now, hopefully then by the time the baseball rolls around, then you got the negative thoughts out of your head, and the Reds can hopefully restore your faith in baseball again, because it's almost that time of year where, hey, it's almost World Baseball Classic time of year, so that'd be kind of crazy. A lot of people, I guess, also posting since this was the last year of the Bengals season that now it's baseball season. January 4th, or I guess tomorrow, January 5th, 2026, officially starts baseball season. So that'd be great. But any other thoughts on the comments or whatnot?
Well, I guess I could ask you if you want. What's your bold take for 2026?
I think I put out there that Ellie was going to break out and steal bases again and hit home runs again at 35 and 50. But actually, I don't know. That's not terribly as bold because, I guess it's bold because he's got nobody protecting him behind him. So I guess that's pretty bold out there. But then also our 3-hitter stealing bases at that rate, I guess sounds bold as well. But
I'll say this to defend your take: ABS is in play this year, so I think I think Austin Elmore shared it. I can't remember. Somebody shared that Ellie was like near the top of the league in baseball for strikeouts looking on balls that weren't strikes.
Yeah.
So, we complain about Ellie striking out, but a lot of his strikeouts are strikeout looking on pitches that would probably be called a ball. And especially coming, this generation of players in the minor leagues, they have ABS in the minor leagues. So they have that to make their numbers look a little bit better, I guess. But that's not a terrible I like that. That seems kind of bold. And I think mine was, I posted one on Facebook in the group. I think I said 87 wins and we win a playoff series.
Yeah, I'll take that for sure. That'd be great. I just thought of another one is 2026, Francisco Urbaya is going to make his major league debut. There we go. Put it out there.
And Austin Hendrick.
And it's 2026. Hey, you get it.
Dude, I will go to the game. I don't care what day it is. I don't care where it's at. I will find a way to go.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I think
be
you
in
said that also about Louisville when he gets called up to Louisville too. So you got a lot of trips planned out, Rick.
I know.
So, but yeah, speaking of Francisco Urbaya, we're going to talk about bubble guys, and these are the guys that seemingly don't have a roster spot or a starting position spot kind of carved out for them at this point. They've been kind of platoon players. They've kind of been guys that we don't know exactly what Tito and the front office or what their plans are for these guys basically in the future. Potential trade targets, potential guys that just going to toil away in the minors. Like I think we obviously talked about a little bit at the beginning of the show, but we'll talk about him again. Guy like Will Benson, for example, like he's very, very polarizing figure, I guess, in Cincinnati because a lot of people love him. I feel like a lot of people don't like his game, or at least they don't like the fact that he's kind of all or nothing sometimes and strikes out a lot. But I guess what I'm posing to you, Ricky, is like, if you want to start with someone else, we start with someone else. But like, I feel like Will Benson is this prototypical Reds organization player where he's got flaws, he's got high upside, but he just can't figure out. Like we were talking about before, if everything goes right, like we talked about, I think even in our first couple episodes previewing the 2025 season, if everything goes right for Will Benson, he's a 30-30 guy. He's an Eric Davis type of player. He's a guy that you build around, or at least he's going to be productive. And unfortunately, we haven't seen that really out of him since 2023. And like a lot of guys, we're hoping they have bounce back years. Is this a year that Benson does it, or is it another year of struggle for William Buchanan Benson?
I think he's going to go out in spring training. I think he's going to have a really good spring training. I think he's motivated. I think he's had, I think last year was kind of just a weird year overall. Just the way he was kind of tossed around. He gets called up, faces a Hall of Fame pitcher, and Justin Verlander strikes out 3 times and then gets demoted the next day. And he has all the power in the world, but he also hits line drives, which doesn't get talked about a lot. I'm tired of the line drive talk. But Benson, he's fast, he's got speed, he plays really good center field, especially in Great American Ballpark. He has a really good arm. He, like you said, he could be a 30-30 guy. I think I said that last year when we were kind of talking about players. Like he reminds me, like, the way he swings over this past season. He reminds me of Barry Bonds if he can just do it. Like, I'm not saying he's Barry Bonds, but like the way he stands in the batter's box and drops his hands, and he has similar attributes to a young Pittsburgh Pirate Barry Bonds. And I get it, that's like crazy expectations to put on somebody, but so is Eric Davis, especially as in Reds fandom. Like, Eric Davis is a legend in Reds lore over the last 40 years. So I guess if I had to pick anybody that we're probably going to talk about, I think Benson's probably going to have the best year out of all of them. Although I feel like he's going to get, if not the least amount of slack, it'll be pretty close to the bottom of the amount of slack he gets to prove. Because I think the stat that we talked about last year is he homered in back-to-back games a month apart. So, like, that's what he had to deal with last year.
Yeah. Also, apologies to Gavin Lux. He had 5 home runs, so I shorted him one. But Will Benson in 2025 had this, Ricky. He had 230 at-bats, scored 31 runs. He had 12 home runs, 41 RBIs. He walked 16 times, struck out 67, batted 226, and slugging 435, OPS 708. Not great numbers at all by any stretch. But I guess my question to you is, does he get more or less than 230 at-bats in 2026?
I hope more, but I think it'll be close. How many at-bats did Santiago Espinal get last year?
Oh, we talked about this at length, man.
He got over 300, right?
301. 301.
Remember, I'll never forget. I say if Santiago Espinal has more than 300 at-bats, there's a problem.
Yep.
And we got lucky and snuck into the playoffs.
He listened to the show, so that he saw it. He's like, all right, Rick, we'll give you 301 at-bats. Or Tito listens, maybe. But anyway, yeah. I think he gets less than 230 at-bats, not because of my theory of him getting traded. I don't know. Unless they really have no suitors out there for him, I think he's probably going to be a Red in 2026. Maybe a Louisville bat for a long stretches of period. I think the additions of Bleday and Myers make his tenure as at least a major leaguer harder. I think it's less than 230 at-bats for Will Benson. He might become the Rhys Hines, just comes up for a week and gets hot type of guy. And where does that put Rhys Hines? I guess we'll talk about him in a second. But, like, I actually kind of think this might be a year that Benson is not necessarily called upon as much. Like you said, he's got a short leash all the time. He's got a short leash when Bleday and Dane Myers weren't here. You know what I mean? Like, this is that it was in April against the Giants. Like, after, like, everybody was like, hey, our offense stinks. We lost 3 straight 1-0 games, right? What are we doing with Hines and Benson killing it in AAA? Now, does that mean it completely translates over, killing it in AAA? You're obviously going to just start lighting the world on fire and in the majors? No, obviously not. But they waited, I think, till like mid-April, and then you're right, sent him right back down again. So I think actually he might get a closer, maybe if I'm being positive, 200 at bats in 2026.
Yeah. So in 2025, I believe this is right. Well, how many games did Benson play last year? I'm trying to.
I got him here at 90.
Okay, so yeah, so the Reds are over 500 with him in the game. They're 50 and 40 last year with him playing. So, and he's responsible for 4 of those. I think 4 of those wins, right? 3 against Cleveland, and then the Rockies game where he had the walk-off hit.
San Diego.
Yeah, and so at least 5 of those were due to him. You know, he had 9 home runs and wins, 3 home runs and losses, 32 RBIs and wins. And it's not like it's a big dramatic split, like 34 games started and wins, 27 games started and losses. So it's like it's not like it's a dramatic split in games played. He's just, you know, I think he deserves to play. And I think if you go by his career, if I was to go by his career here, let's see if I can find that number. The Reds are pretty good with him playing. Yeah, 180 and 174. So
I guess, yeah, maybe that's why they keep him around. He's a good luck charm for the Reds. Their wins.
I guess
they made the playoffs with him on the bench, so you know. But anyway,
so 143 games he's played starting in winning games. He has 28 home runs, 9 triples, 28 doubles. He's batting .272 with an .878 OPS.
Is he one of these guys that Krall talks about with that comment, the peaks and valleys guy? Is that what it is?
I feel like it maybe a 142 OPS plus in wins, 49 OPS plus in losses. So it's like it's dramatic. Like if he's the ultimate, like if he plays good, they're winning. If he plays bad, they're losing. That's what it feels like.
And maybe they're just not willing to take that risk, which I think we can kind of safely assume in many ways. I guess we'll see. This year,
500 at bats in wins and 415 at bats and losses. So I think it's there, you know, like it's. I don't know. I feel like he just deserves a shot. Give him 1 season. Just be like, all right, we'll go out there and play. Because I feel like the year that they gave him, you know, that was what 2 years ago in 24 with David Bell. Just they kind of had to with all the injuries they had.
Yeah.
And he was just atrocious versus lefties. And I think he was a little bit better last year against lefties than he was 2 years ago. So I kind of give him that. But yeah, I feel like he deserves. Just give him 1 season just to see what he can do.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know where you want to go next, or if you got any more things on Benson. We got a bunch of guys that we can go through. The next guy I got on my list is CES because we talked about him with the comments. Some people think he's still got, you know, something left to his game. And well, talk about a guy with peaks and valleys. I think CES is maybe even more so with the fact that his plate approach seems to really put him in some weird spots. And, I mean, if Trace was upset about Candelario's plate approach, I can't imagine if he breaks down a CES, like what he's got on tape is going to be, you know, anything that you'd like to see. But CES is a guy, right? Like he's another guy that could blow the world away and come out hot in spring training, or he could be the same CES that we've kind of seen these last 2 years. He was another class of 23 guy, right? Came up late, I believe, in 2023, August or so, I believe.
July 17th.
July, okay. So right around the All-Star break or there shortly thereafter. And yeah.
Chatterbox Reds night, I was there.
Okay. So yeah, shout out to CES debut. What are your thoughts on CES in 2026?
I feel like more, and this is crazy because he's younger. He's going into his age 26 season. I feel like kind of like the make or break for him just based off his play approach more than anything. If he's not going to show improvement on his approach, then I don't think he ever shows improvement on his approach. And he's got all the power in the world. He could easily hit 50 home runs if he just figures it out, And like his career, he's a negative 1.2 WAR player, which I didn't even know it was that bad. Funny enough, he's arbitration eligible in 27. We'll see what happens there. I feel like the way like the team seems to like want to keep him. It feels like he's not a line drive hitter. He's not a good plate approach guy. He doesn't fit any of the molds that Crawl wants. So I feel like he has to be the 35 home run guy to stick. And if he's not, then they're going to have to move on because we're going into his 4th season. Still hasn't even played a full season. He's played 128 games over 3 years. Baseball Reference has his 162 average as a 233 average, 404 slug, 679 OPS, an 80 OPS plus. And if he was to play 162 games, they have him at 27 home runs. So it's not terrible, but I think a lot of people are expecting way more than that. And it's kind of crazy expectations to put on him. But I would love to see if he could get a 245 average and get his OPS up above 720. I don't know. I feel like my feelings towards him has dropped over the last season and a half. Then I probably wished it did, but I don't know. I'm not. I feel like he's going to get more chances than most of them, and I think hopefully he makes the most out of it.
Yeah, hopefully not. But yeah, shout out to joining our show. We got pushed to the top of his feed. Thank you, algorithm. Thank you, everyone sharing and pushing our show up to the top and whatnot. Thank you, Google or whoever else is out there. So appreciate it.
As I'm struggling to find the words to talk about Christian Ignacio.
Hey, man. I guess they love CES and the algorithms, but it's very easy to spell CES. But anyway, Thank you for joining the show. We are talking about Reds bubble players. Like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. CES, if we're really talking about baseball philosophy or the hitting philosophy of this organization, CES does not fit. Plain and simple. Yeah. He's all or nothing, and his plate approach is not disciplined. His plate approach does not move the run over, yada, yada, all that kind of little stuff. The little stuff that Felica, the stuff that supposedly Gavin Lux has mastered with his, the way he plays, debatable, right? But compared to what we have in this organization, right, in terms of how Tito, Felica want to play. That being said, CES is going to probably toil away in the minors, I believe, this year. Because, we talked to it with Greg, I think, a bunch. I can't remember, maybe even Jeff Carr and whatnot. It's just a plate approach, man. It's just not baseball Major League ready. Even if he was like in the White Sox organization, for example, or the Rockies organization, he might not get a chance potentially there, maybe more than he would for us because we're in our, potentially playoff competitive window.
CES with the Rockies hits like 75 home runs.
Yeah. Maybe call up Colorado. Maybe there's a guy that we could get out of their
Brenton Doyle.
Yeah. We'll do that tomorrow. But yeah, I don't want to be like completely negative on the guy because he's the strongest guy, one of the strongest guys in the organization. And obviously when he gets a hold of one, he gets a hold of one. Shout out to the Grand Slam and what was that? Second or third start for Mr. Chase Burns against the Red Sox. So
yeah,
he's got all the tools for a power guy that we obviously clamor for as a fan base, but I don't think the organization values. So he might be a guy that ends up winning 2026 Southern League MVP, just like Reese Hines. He might go 1 and 2 in the voting because I think he's going to be a guy that's going to kill it because he does kill it in the minors, right? Like that's the thing. He's not a guy
except for this past year.
Well, there may be some retooling going on, right? Like even Chase Petty had his struggles because he's trying to get back to his form that he found a couple years ago or whatever, right? So it's going to be probably another learning year for CES. I don't think it's going to be a year where he's called upon as often because like he had how many? He had 130 at bats with 6 home runs, 19 RBIs, struck out 32 times in 36 games. Strong. You can be as strong as an ox. You can't see the ball. You can't have a good plate appearance that's disciplined. A plate approach that's disciplined. It might be closer to the end than the beginning for CES.
And Mike chimes in and said they should be able to get something for him. Fans love home runs. Like, yeah, so do we. We just don't seem to get them. I don't know what. Like, I know what the philosophy change is, but I don't understand why the philosophy changed. Because you look back to 2019, you had Votto and Suarez and all those guys hitting 30 plus, and here we are struggling to hit 20 as a team. It's like Great American Ballpark's always been that top 5 ballpark in all of baseball and home runs hit, and it's a lot of Reds players hitting home runs, and it's just not that anymore.
Yeah. I mean, even like Clay Snowden talk about build your team to the ballpark, right? Like you could get away with getting like a Benson in center field because of how small, the center field is out there compared to other ballparks at like Atlanta or whatnot. Like you could do different things to help your team gain advantages. Are we like that much smarter than the front office that we realize that hitting home runs in our ballpark is an advantage? Or are they galaxy braining us, being like, no, you don't want home runs. You want line drives that hit the wall or whatever. Like
I got another thing here too. So I was looking at something with Gavin Lux because we were talking about him earlier. Talking about lefty line drives, right?
Yeah.
Baseball Savant has expected home runs if they played at X ballpark, right? So if he played in New York for the Yankees, he would have had 6 home runs. Tampa Bay, he would have had 7. Cleveland, he would have had 7. The A's, he would have had 8. Atlanta, he would have had 7. Philadelphia, he would have had 7. And he would have had 7 if he played every game in Great American Ballpark. So we weren't even the top ballpark for him to hit his line drive home runs in. So I just don't understand the philosophy of line drives. It's like, that's not what Great American Ballpark is. The ball carries when you hit it in the air here. Like, it's not about hitting line drives. It's about getting air under the ball. And I don't understand that philosophy with it.
Yeah. I don't know. It's old school. It's hit them where they ain't type of philosophy and whatnot. So like it's
you know what else is hit them where they ain't? 45 rows deep in the moon deck. Like, hit it in the upper deck. Hit it, like Suarez routinely hit balls in that upper deck. Like Castellanos when he was here was hitting balls into the upper deck. Adam Dunn put balls in the river.
Ahead of his time.
I mean, there was, I could go on about him. Like, what's the rumor about that ball? Adam Dunn hit it, landed on a piece of driftwood, and it went down like 2 states, went to like Missouri or something.
Supposedly, yeah.
Yeah.
Mike says that we got to trade for Jake Barger of Toronto. Young power, mostly lineup drives. Yeah, I don't know what Toronto would want.
Could he be available with the signing they had yesterday or today, whatever it was, of that Japanese, is it Okamoto? I think his name is.
Yeah. Or am I thinking of the Astros guy? Is this guy?
They got the pitcher.
Oh, yeah, that's where I got.
Yeah.
Different.
The Blue Jays signed the third outfielder, I think. That there was really heavy rumors that the Reds and the Pirates were both heavily involved in him.
That's it. Yeah.
And obviously, I think Toronto overpaid. $60 million over 4 years, I think was what the deal was from Jet Passon.
Yeah, I mean, Japan reigning world baseball classic
I got
champs.
a lot of talent over there.
Yeah,
we picked the wrong guy when when we did it. The only Japanese player ever to play for the Reds, and we're probably never going to do it again because of how he played.
yeah, it may be a bit of a. It's a tough risk because you don't know exactly how they're going to translate over to Major League Baseball pitching, the amount of games, the travel, whatnot. Because our country is a lot bigger than Japan, and there's a lot more travel to go to, say, San Francisco on a weekday.
Yeah, you go from Cincinnati to San Francisco to Houston, within a 9-day stretch.
Yeah, yeah. And Mike's right. They are trying to win with something different, and we obviously lament on this show about how it would be nice to have Adam Dunn back and Kyle Schwarber to be that ghost of Adam Dunn, to just channel him and hit all the balls into the Ohio River. But neither here nor there. We're talking about bubble guys now, and this guy, I guess I was kind of struggling because they really were high on Blake Dunn. He wasn't necessarily, a guy that you were like, okay, he's going to be in the, opening day roster. But like the way he finished his minor league season, the way that they valued him when they called him up, or did he make the opening roster last year? Or he was just called up early? I can't remember exactly what it was.
Blake Dunn was called up in May of 24, I think.
Okay.
And he made the opening day roster this year. Him and Hurtubise both, I believe.
Yeah, so they were high. They've been high on him for a long, long time, and I guess the only reason why I'm putting him in this bubble is because of these new additions that we got, the Blue Day and Dane Meyer stuff. So I still think he's probably the fourth outfielder based on how we think the organization feels about Blake Dunn, and we'll see what his spring training looks like. And just to give you an idea what Blake Dunn's 2025 looked at, he only played in 30 games. It had 60 plate appearances. At bats. He had 75 plate appearances, just a single homer, 7 RBIs, 150 batting average. This was like, obviously that stretch where he was doing so poorly at the start of the year. And then we were all calling for Hines and Benson, right? Like that was the whole thing, is that they're throwing these guys out here like Hurtubise and Dunn, like you mentioned, and they're just struggling. They're just stinking it up. And then he goes down the minors for a long, long time, gets back to it. Probably going to be the same situation, I feel. He'll be opening day roster, fourth outfielder. Basically, Blade, Benson, Hines, and Dane Myers are kind of fighting for spots on the roster. Where do you see a guy like Blake Dunn in 2026?
I think he's going to be your backup center fielder opening day roster.
Over Dane Myers.
Over Dane Myers. I think I'll take that back a little bit. I think he's going to play left field a little bit more too. I think because I think Marte is going to hold down right field for the most part. What helps Marte is his splits against right-handed pitching. But Nick Krall is extremely high on Blake Dunn, and I feel like that kind of lends credence to what we're going to see. I was trying to look at a stat. We DFA'd Stuart Fairchild last year to keep Hurtubise, who we ended up DFAing. Blake Dunn didn't even stay on the Major League roster the whole season. And honestly, I thought he was trending towards non-tender this year had he not had the exceptional end of the season that he had, where he was hitting like 350 for a solid 2 months. And I do like Blake Dunn's game if he can hit. He's fast, plays pretty good defense. Like I think he could have a Stuart Fairchild type role, maybe better than what we got out of Fairchild. But like I don't want to see more than like 180 at bats, 200 at bats, if we're going to be a serious playoff contending team. Like I would like to see Friedel, Marte, and I guess Blade be your majority outfielders, and then you have, I guess we're gonna go with 5 outfielders. So I guess it's gonna be Myers and Dunn, and I'm guessing that leaves Hines and Benson most likely in AAA. I don't know what Benson's options look like. I know Hines has options, but I just if I can find this, I'm almost positive that Hurtabees had almost as many at bats as Hines last year, maybe more.
Oh, it was close. I obviously Dunn had a little bit more than Hines. Hines only had like 45 or whatnot. But I definitely see, like you were saying, he's going to be the Stu Fairchild defensive replacement late in innings, especially if you got like a guy like Lux in left, for example. They'll probably late replace Lux for defensive purposes, or maybe even Benson or whatever. So like I could see him playing definitely more than 30 games. You know what's going to happen, Ricky? You say he's going to get 200 at bats. He's going to get 201.
201.
Yeah, so let's put that down on tape somewhere. So yeah, for sure, I think he should be better than he was in 2025. Like I don't know if that's really a bold take or whatever, but like Carrick says that he's got one option left for Benson. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see that Blake Dunn is on this opening day roster and contributing. 2024 Stuart Fairchild contributed too much, right? Like he was starting too many games. He was being depended on too many times. I hope that's not the case, that the Reds have to depend on a Blake Dunn having a breakout year. Hopefully he could be the guy that comes off the bench late and, pinch hit, pinch run, late inning situations at the very least. But I think they value him definitely a lot. And like you said, Hines and Benson starting in AAA. They did that last year. They could do it again.
Yeah, I fear that it's gonna be the Blake Dunn and Dane Myers show, and we're gonna leave the power in AAA. Just give Pat Kelly all the power down there, because they're probably gonna have. I'm assuming that Austin Hendricks gonna be down there too. So he's gonna be. He had an up year last year. Maybe he builds on that, and you have 3 power hitting outfielders in AAA waiting to come up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and Pat Kelly, I think manager year 2025 or some sort of managerial award. So shout out to him having a good year down there with the Bats, I believe. But yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting situation to see what they do with Blake Dunn, how they deploy him. I think Carrick saying that he loves him a lot too. And yeah, he had a great end of 2025 for his minors. I think Ricky, you were talking about like he went from like batting 200 to nearly batting 300 in a span of a couple months.
Yeah.
So that's putting in the work, right? Like that is stuff that probably the Reds organization definitely looks at and says, yes, this is the guy. We want plate approach to bat for average, to put the ball in play. And yeah, opening day roster seems inevitable, I guess, barring injury or barring maybe even having maybe some setbacks in spring training. I think definitely way over 30 games for him this year. I'd say maybe the 60 game range at least.
All right, so I found what I was looking for. And Rhys Hines was the best player out of the 3. Hurtabees and Dunn last year. Hurtabees played in 41 games. Hines played in 39, and Dunn played in 49. So Hines played in less games, had more WAR. He had double the WAR, triple the WAR. He was a 0.3 WAR player, and Dunn was a negative 0.3, and Hurtabees was negative 0.3. So that's negative 0.6 combined, and he was positive 0.3. Hines had more hits, more home runs, more RBIs. Like, I just don't understand why we seem to be anti-Rhys Hines and Will Benson.
Yeah, I hopefully it becomes more and more clear when the season starts coming around in terms of what they're going to be doing with these guys. That's why they're in this bubble list, because fans don't know exactly what's going on. We get indications from certain things, obviously how much they're used and when they're used and whatnot. But yeah, it's frustrating. So speaking of that, unless you got more on Blake Dunn, any thoughts there?
I do like Blake Dunn. Like I said, I think he can provide 2023 Stuart Fairchild if he can have good at bats. I like his speed. I mean, people forget he was minor league player of the year in 2022, I believe, or 2023. So he's a good player. He's just a little on the older side for my liking for someone not having the experience. But I guess I don't know. I do like him. I'm not anti Blake Dunn. I want to see power.
Yeah. We'll keep wishing, right? Here's a guy that has power. Our 2025 Southern League MVP, Rhys Hines, 2020 guy, the guy that's got the tools to be that potential power hitter, but maybe just doesn't have enough consistency or plate approach that would be conducive for the major league level. Didn't play a lot, as Ricky's always pointed out on the show, in 2025 for the Redlegs. Barely, he didn't even have any a stretch where he started games a lot. So it's kind of frustrating. It was a total of 15 games I have here for Rhys Hines. It's just not enough to even figure out what you got in the guy. Yeah. Especially when he's having this potential 2020 season, you think they'd take a flyer and say, hey, maybe we could catch a little bit of what the good mojo he's been cooking down there at AAA. Obviously, maybe there's roster situations where not able to call up a guy out of for no reason or whatnot, but I don't know. Like you said, the rosters expand. I think you made that comment. When the roster expand to 40 man in September, that's an opportunity to get him potentially up to the majors, but they didn't do that either. Obviously, they went with Sal Stu, and you'd point out earlier in the show that's not the wrong choice. Like it's not like we have to do it either.
We're not knocking Sal Stewart at all. We were begging for him to come up.
Right. Or even the organization's philosophy to pick Stewart over Hines. It's not the wrong approach.
It should have been both of them.
Right. That's the thing. And now we got this log jam, whatever you call it, in the outfield with all these guys. Something's got to give, I guess, is what's going to end up happening. It's either, obviously Rhys Hines gets no opportunities because the guys that they signed are major league kind of ready with Bleday, Dane Myers. Friedel should have another good year. Maybe they're kind of anticipating a Friedel injury, right? Like he's gone so long playing 152 games. That's a lot for TJ Friedel. I'm just saying. Not saying that he's going to just immediately break down the first game he plays in spring training or nothing. But
fingers crossed he doesn't.
Yeah, maybe this is just insurance. Maybe the reason why we're doing this is like how we like to collect shortstops and second baseman with Jonathan India and McLean. Is just in case a McLean goes out for the whole year, we've got all these guys waiting in the wing potentially. Maybe that's the only thing maybe that's what we're missing, is that the Reds are not guaranteeing that health's going to be on their side in 2026. And it often isn't, right? There's often guys that miss time to time. We're getting a little bit more healthy with Hunter's not missing as much. Lodolo's not missing as much. Even Abbott was not missing that much. He only missed the first couple of starts of the year. But you can't depend on that year in, year out. So maybe we got this all backwards, Ricky. Maybe we're not supposed to question all these decisions by Kroll and company because they're going to laugh in our face when someone gets hurt, and then you're going to see Rhys Hines. He's going to put that out there and say, hey, we've always backed Rhys Hines. We love him. We want him to be here forever. We're going to sign him to a 10-year extension and all that. But no, I kid. What are your thoughts for obviously 15 games? He's got to play more than that, right?
Yeah. He's got to get Santiago Espinal numbers next year.
301 at bats is a lot.
Yeah. I got Baseball Savant pulled up on Hines here, and this is insane. Average exit velocity. He's in the 92.5 miles per hour average exit velocity. That's high. Barrel percentage, 18%. That's near 90th percentile, if not better. He's in the 90th percentile in exit velocity. Hard hit percentage, 50%. That's near 85%. Bat speed, 75.7 miles per hour. That would be in the 94th percentile. What kills him is, this was just all in 2025, by the way. His squared up percentage was just 14%. Chase percentage was at 39.6. Whiff percentage was at 52.7. So it's almost like he was struggling to hit the ball, but when he hit the ball, he was crushing it. And you would think with how he played in AAA that they would have said, hey, like, this kid's hitting the ball and got it figured out. Let's give him another shot. But maybe they're saving that for this year. And then you take into account he was a +1 arm value, which puts him about 60%. He was a -2 outs above average, which is about around league average for an outfielder. And his sprint speed is in the 98th percentile. So he's fast, hits the ball hard. Like, there's some Acuna type play in him if he does it. He's got to hit the ball and he can't chase as much as he does. But, like, he's the player that, like, if he hits the ball, he's hitting it hard and it's going somewhere far. Like, I think he had 2 home runs this past season. I know one was in Atlanta. I think that was the last time we saw him, honestly. He had the go-ahead home run in that weird game where they were down. He put them ahead, and then they blew the lead, I think.
Before the Speedway Classic?
And then he hit one at home, I think.
Okay.
I think. Maybe.
Well, technically the Speedway Classic was
technically they were home, yes, maybe. But, like, if he could get that chase percentage down to, like, 20% instead of 39, and get his whiff percentage down to, like, 38% instead of 52, you're going to see him, like, if I was to go to his 2024 numbers here, granted, still small sample size, his expected on-base average, 388, slugging was expected 608. This is all 100 percentile stuff here. Barrel percentage was at 20%. That was in the 99th 100th percentile. Bat speed 75 miles per hour. That's in the 90th percentile. Sweet spots percentage for launch angle 40. Average launch angle of 40% sweet spot. That's in the 90th percentile. 92% in sprint speed, and he was +1 in outs above average. So he should have got a longer leash in 24 also, and we can't blame Tito for that because he wasn't here. We had David Bell for that. I know we all like to harp on Tito. I just don't think people are realizing. I don't think he's not making these roster decisions as like who gets called up, who doesn't. Like, he literally said in his press conference, I'm not going to complain about players. You're not going to hear me complain about money. I'm going to do my job with the players that I'm given. And I think he's like that old school manager that leaves it up to your front office to who's going to be on the team and who's not. And I kind of wish he would take a little bit more input, which I don't know for a fact that he doesn't, like, it's never really been said, but I would love to see a guy like Hines get way more than, what'd you say, 16 at-bats, 18 at-bats?
15 games, he had 43 at-bats.
Yeah, like, that's not even a month's worth of games. Like, it's awful. For the play, if we're going to go by analytics, for the launch angle percentage and bat speed and expected on-base average and slugging and average exit velocity of 91.6 miles per hour. It's a hard hit ball every time he hits the ball. That's insane.
Which you think is what they would want. They want hard hit balls. And obviously maybe it's the launch angle thing, but I guess it's just weirded out by the short leash that Hines and Benson get. There's got to be something that I wish Charlie Goldsmith can uncover or some other reporter can uncover of why the philosophy from the front office, not Tito, because Tito, obviously, like you said, there is some separation of powers, is shortening the leash so much of saying, hey, you know what, Will Benson, sorry, after one game that we were needing offense, you got to go back down. Like, I don't know exactly where these conversations happen. If they happen, with Meter and Crawl, if it happens even higher up with, the Castellinis and whatnot, in terms of like giving these guys leashes and keeping them in, because somebody's got to make the decision to keep Matt McLean on this roster when he's gone through his struggles. Someone's got to make the decision on Spencer Steer playing half the year with a hurt shoulder. Like these things aren't just they're not just closing their eyes and hoping for the best. They gotta make some hard decisions about these guys. It's why they get paid the money they get paid. It's part of the job of figuring out what makes this the best baseball club that they can possibly be. Because as you saw in 2023 or 2025, Ricky, every game mattered. Every win mattered. If they, I don't know, obviously hindsight's 2020. If they rested McLean and Spencer Steer a little bit more, they gave Ellie a couple more days off of rest. Does that mean do they lose those games? Or do they, like addition by subtraction, giving these guys rest, get somebody in there that's 100%, and they go out and they win 85, and it's not a stressful game 162 like we experienced this past year. Can we do that in 2026? Can we give a little bit more runway to some guys to maybe rest up some of these guys that they put the heavy, workload on? And I get it. Ellie and McLean and Steer are still young, on the younger side, but I don't know. I feel like we've had this conversation many times about Hines and Benson and whatnot.
Yeah, like, let's just say they gave Ellie 10 games off and he played 152 instead of 162. That's 10 games you could have had McLean playing shortstop. And maybe that gets him out of his head a little bit. Look what it did to Marte, moving from third base to right field. It changed his season, really.
Yeah.
And you get 10 games of Gavin Lux playing second base instead of the one where he had the error against the Brewers, right? Like, those are decisions that you make that, like 10 games for like Matt McLean at shortstop. Like maybe he hits a little bit better than what he did. And then when Ellie comes back to play the next game, you have McLean at second, and his confidence is higher because I think he would feel more valued, I guess, if that makes sense. I don't know.
But these are the decisions that Tito can make. This is not.
That is Tito, yes.
Unless the front office is, again.
And I can see the front office saying, like, hey, we need tickets. We need Ellie there. Like, whatever it takes, do not sit Ellie. Like, I could see them being that dumb about it.
Oh, yeah. Especially after the Schwarber comments.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, that's what gets me is, like, when the comments came out about Schwarber, and I guess we need to move on from Schwarber because it's just we're beating a dead horse at this point. Yeah. But when you have beat writers as in Buster Olney, Jet Passon, and I don't know who else was the major ones that were in on this. Ken Rosenthal, I think, was one too. The only reason they were pursuing Schwarber was to sell tickets. Like, you know what else sells tickets? Guys hitting balls into the river. Guys hitting home runs. Like,
maybe you got to email them. Maybe they don't realize that. So, well, here's the thing. You talk about that Tito would accept whatever player that he gets. Why aren't they signing some guys that have some pop, even if they are Austin Hayes types that are, I guess, on the bounce back? But we don't even do that. We don't even get the bargain bin pop guys.
Is it who's a player that has had that long career with the Dodgers and played for the Cubs last? Is it Turner?
Oh, yeah, Turner, the redhead.
Is it Justin?
Justin Turner.
Yeah, so there was comments that he had mentioned that he would love to play for Tito. Why aren't we pursuing? I get it. He's like 36, but get a bench. Like, we need veterans like that with this team. Like, you give him a day at third to give Keybrine a day off, and then you give him a game at DH to give. Like, that's the moves that you make. And maybe he hits 6 home runs, but those could be 6 meaningful home runs. You know, instead of 6 just random home runs throughout the year. Like, that was because he hit a line drive. Like, it's just that. Why aren't we doing stuff like that? Like the 2009 season where you traded a player with all the upside of Edwin Encarnacion, who ended up hitting 50 home runs, 40 home runs for the Blue Jays. But the leadership aspect of Scott Rowland is what put this team over the top for that 2-3 year stretch. And then Ryan Ludwig kind of filled that mold in 2012 where they won almost 100 games. And I was looking at the 2012 roster. Only 2 guys had more than 25 home runs. It was Ludwig and Bruce, I think.
Really? Not Votto?
Votto only had like 14 that year.
Oh wow.
That was the down power years from Votto, where he was walking a lot. And people hated it. But you know what? We won games. It didn't matter. I kind of wish he would have tried more, but Votto's who Votto is, and yeah.
I think he's talking about Edwin Encarnacion here that you mentioned. The big guy they traded, he said in 2009. So it's, yeah, that's just add that to another list of guys we traded away because can't afford them.
I liked him a lot, but I will say that was an even trade for, I guess, the short term. Like long term, obviously he benefited from first base and DH in the American League, not having a DH here. First base was locked up by Votto. They weren't moving Votto. I mean, they even had a prospect like Yonder Alonso come up, and he was a first baseman. And there was even talk about, do they move Votto to the outfield for Alonso? And it's like, I'm pretty sure Votto had a longer career post drafting and developing Yonder Alonso. And I just, I mean, it sucks seeing a guy like him go, but in the short term, I think it put us in a spot to get into the playoffs. And we didn't win anything, but then that 2012 team was just so much fun.
Yeah, for sure. And getting back to it though, any other thoughts on resigns before we move on to our next guy? It's in the bubble.
You know, everybody says free Will Benson, but I'm free resigns.
Yeah, resigns has been locked up a lot more down there in the minors, toiling away, as I like to say. Our next guy is a guy that just recently became a dad, but unfortunately broke his arm on a freak play that I think we talked about earlier in the show. Tyler Callahan. I'll put this out here. Sorry to start out here. Hopefully it doesn't take away any of your takes. I think Tyler Callahan plays the most out of all these guys that we're mentioning. Only because I think there might be injuries down the road. They may have some struggles with, like, say, Blade or Dane Myers and end up DFAing those guys because they're kind of on small deals that they may be able to eat if they're really struggling and whatnot. But I feel like Tyler Callahan might be the guy that comes up, plays well, proves that he's worth his spot on this roster and kind of becomes a platoon guy in the outfield corner spots. Can he play center? I don't remember if he can play center, but I guess we're all kind of hoping that TJ Friedel stays healthy. But I think all these guys that we're talking about could be potential guys that help platoon the outfield and figure out basically what our outfield's going to look like in 2026. And I think Tyler Callahan's got a pretty good chance to hopefully come back stronger. Obviously, I think we'll have to check to see where he's at in his rehab, but I think he'll have a pretty decent 2026, and really hope he does because, he had such an unfortunate way that his 2025 ended. That he'll want to forget that hopefully soon, or hopefully he's already put that in his past.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think he kind of fits the mold of what they're looking for, as in Crawl. And Valeka. I think he's more of like a Gavin Lux type player if he is healthy. I think he's got a little bit more pop than Lux. He's got 37 career home runs in the minors over 6 seasons. It's not a lot, but he has a 749 OPS career in the minors. So Baseball Reference has him as a second base, third base, left fielder. So I guess that's kind of identical to Gavin Lux in a way. But yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I could see him playing meaningful games, good or bad, I guess. But yeah, it's unfortunate what happened to him with the broken arm, and that should have been an out, by the way, for the record. Because
sure.
wasn't there another play that happened later in the season by a different team that a player got hurt, dropped the ball, and they called him out? I'm like, come on. But yeah.
I don't even know if you could challenge that type of stuff, but it feels like you should be able to. But I know I hear what you're saying in terms of like he seems like a Gavin Lux replacement player, which you know what. I know it's too late to non-tender Gavin Lux, but maybe that makes him more of a trade candidate potentially because he think he's still got arbitration money coming his way potentially this year. So like maybe they make a deal to get Gavin Lux out of town, and if Tyler Callahan looks to be the guy who could be that fourth or fifth outfielder and utility guy, hitting 303 in Louisville before he got called up was pretty good to start off in what the 106 plate appearances in 24 games. So like we'll take that in Cincinnati, especially like the front office philosophy on hitting, or I should say Valika's philosophy on hitting and front office's non-home run hitting approach, or at least launch angle approach. So I don't know. I feel like he fits kind of like you said the mold. We'll take that and really would like him to have a bounce back year since he missed all of 2025 basically after his injury.
Yeah, so I don't know how accurate Google AI is, but I just typed in, Tyler Callahan player comp, right? And it says Tyler Callahan is a versatile switch hitting infielder. Oh, I don't think he's a switch hitter. Maybe he used to be, but he isn't anymore, apparently. It says strong left-handed hitter with good bat speed, ability to hit for power and average, strong against high velocity pitching, but needs to refine plate discipline at higher levels. And I don't know how old this is either. But as far as player comps, maybe this was out of high school, maybe this was out of college, I don't know. But Josh Harrison, Marwin Gonzalez type players, but more raw power.
Okay.
And then Matt Carpenter in his early career.
Wow. Okay.
If you give me Matt Carpenter, I'm happy with that. He was a really good
power
player.
hitting one or the early one that was for hitting for average?
Hey, give me the average for for make Crawl happy.
Yeah. Why not? He definitely is on the younger side as well. I think he's going to turn 26 this year.
20, yeah.
So he's still on the younger side and still pre-arb. So he'll have, lots of cheap years to use him on as well. So you don't have to potentially pay, like Gavin Lux and any extension or whatnot after he's hit his 6 years of arbitration. So I don't know. It's definitely a guy I think with a lot of upside and a lot to prove. So
yeah,
hopefully he has a good spring training, comes out there healthy and ready to go.
Yeah, for sure. And if we do get a Matt Carpenter type player out of him, I think that would be good for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Another guy at AAA that hit really well for average, and my favorite guy, teased it at the top of the show as my kind of bold take of 2026, Francisco Arbaez, a guy that is playing in the Dominican League still presently, and they're in their round robin format of their playoffs and played a game. He hadn't been playing regularly down the stretch. He had that long back injury that kept him out. Not really a lot of details around that, so hopefully he's all healed up. I don't know exactly what kept him out because it kept him out almost like a month, it felt like, of Dominican League baseball. And the Winter Dominican League down there as well, like brings in reinforcements all the time. So sometimes guys get rotated out, like Carlos Jorge got rotated out and whatnot for a bit, and then the Gigantes then picked up your guy Noel Marte just for the playoffs, by the way. So, like, it rumored he was going to play in the Dominican League, but I guess they can bring up their ringers that they have on their roster that aren't presently playing and just show up. But besides all that, Urbaez was having a pretty good Dominican League, hitting over 300 as well, like he did at Louisville. Hasn't had any sniffs, or I don't know, maybe we're the only podcast media outlet Reds fans that talk about this guy, other than maybe, like Carrick's Farm System Facebook page. But like, it feels like he's due for something. I know he's on the older side. I know he's not necessarily the sexiest pick of bringing a guy up. We know how much they value Matt McLain, but Matt McLain's got injury issues. So why not invest in this guy? Maybe make him potentially a part of that, at least give him a chance, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So
yeah, he could be your Santiago Espinal replacement for 2026. I mean, he's hit at every level. He's got a career 790 OPS in the minors since 2021. He hit 314 last year with a 464 slug. He had 4 home runs, 50 RBIs. He walked almost as much as he struck out. He walked 38 times, struck out 40. So he's got a good eye, and like you said, it's not the sexiest decision to bring up somebody like Francisco Urbaez, but if you're not going to do it now, are you ever going to do it? Because he's 28 years old, and he's not going to get any younger. He turns 29 in October of this coming season. So I feel like now's the time. You just see what you have in him. He's been in the system since 2021. Just let him go. Let him see what you got. Because we seem to pick and choose who we do. We bring up Brees Hines kind of unexpectedly, honestly, when he came up. There was a lot of people that are like, he's struggling this year. What are we doing? And he comes up and just sets the world on fire, and they send him back down. Like, maybe you just see what he does in spring training, and then you make a decision. You'll have to add him to the 40, man. I think he'll be Rule 5 this offseason. Or this coming offseason. So there's going to be a decision to be made. And he's already at AAA. He's been at AAA since the end of 2024. So, I mean, if you're not going to do it now, then what are we doing?
Yeah, exactly. And I know there's sometimes minor league lifers out there that kind of play
Edwin Rios.
Yeah, so you kind of don't want him to fall into that category. Maybe he's already there in the eyes of the organization. I hope not. I mean, why would he still be pressing his, or trying to improve himself by playing in the Dominican League every year? It's like, I get it. He loves the game and whatnot. I think he's the starting second baseman for your Louisville Bats. So, like, the guy can hold down a position. You were talking about how McLain should spell Ellie sometimes at short. Why not we give McLain some rest?
Yeah.
He's been pressing because he's trying to, make up for lost time with missing all of the 2024 season. And basically, it felt like he was pressing a lot after his hot start. It kind of fizzled out in 2025. Let's give this guy some rest. Like he can look at the game, or maybe just, see it from a different perspective for a little bit. I'm not saying bench McLain at all, because obviously this organization may never do that.
Right.
But you gotta give some guys a chance, like you said, and maybe they come up here, set the world on fire, give you a couple of wins you weren't expecting, and gets you a better playoff position. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's all we're talking about. We want contributors, positive contributors to this, organization as much as we can. This guy's been doing it for a while. Like you said, why not?
Yeah, and he offers defensive flexibility. He played 5 games in left field, 10 games at third base, a game at first base, 72 games at second base, and he DH too. But like, he can play where you need him to go. If you can play left field, you can play right field. Maybe not center, but I don't see why you wouldn't give him a chance. I mean, hopefully, I'm assuming he's probably going to get an invite to spring training. I know a lot of minor league guys do in the minor league portion. I don't know. It'd be cool to see, because I think it'd be kind of like just the moment of reckoning for him. You know, he's obviously, as a baseball player, you work your whole life to get that moment to get called up, and you know, you get to a certain age and you keep getting passed up by other players, and you know, you've done your job, you hit the ball, which as a baseball player you're supposed to do. You don't strike out, you walk. And I guess, other than being flashy and putting up, you know, a lot of StatCast statistics that stand out, I mean, what else are you supposed to do? I feel like he deserves a shot. I think if I was to give a bold take on him, I think he makes his major league debut before the All-Star break.
Oh gosh, putting pressure on this guy. Okay, I was thinking September at the least, right? When the rosters expand, or maybe, you know, McLean needed a couple days
and
off.
I'm saying that because I think he's going to do very well in AAA, and he's kind of going to force their hand. And if McLean is struggling again, like, they're going to need something. And they're probably going to, I know with Sal Stewart, he's lost 26 pounds. He looks a lot leaner. I don't know if you've seen any video of him, but he looks a lot thinner.
Really?
And I think some of the coaches are saying he's going to play second base a little bit more. He's going to play first, second, third, I guess, if they need him for Ke'Bryan Hayes' days off. But why not bring up Urbaez and just be like your utility infielder kind of guy?
Yeah, well, now with that Sal Stew talk, now it sounds like Urbaez is going to be in the minors all year now. So because now they got a backup second baseman for McLean. So there we go. Scratch that off the list right there. Okay. Anyway,
All-Star break, calling it.
Yeah, I hope so. I really do. I think
that's my Sal Stewart take for this year. Last year it was Sal Stewart's going to go from Double-A to the majors, and this year it's going to be Francisco Urbaez makes his major league debut before the All-Star break.
Yeah, I would say, not that, again, the sexiest of takes out there, but you know, I think Carrick's a big fan too, so we'll take it. A couple other guys. We got a couple pitchers I wanted to transition to. A guy that kind of has been on the bubble just because he's just been not his best self. He got acquired from the Athletics in a trade a couple of seasons back when that was the big trade piece to push the Reds into the playoff race in 2023. Talking about left-handed pitcher Sam Moll, the only lefty left in that bullpen, other than, I think, the couple of guys they picked up. What was it?
Caleb Ferguson,
just in a trade recently. So Sam Moll, obviously we've had our jokes at his expense because of how poorly he played and how weird he would come in and mop up and pitch his best baseball when they're already down like 10 runs. The pressure was off, type of thing. But he also came into camp, I guess, supposedly out of shape. Didn't really, impress Tito. Same thing at Ashcraft, I think, was the report as well. So his year got off to a rocky start. Hopefully he learns from that. I mean, he's a veteran player. He's going into age 34 season. Not like it's his first or second rodeo. So, like, I don't know, 23 games out of Sam Moll, 18.1 innings pitched. I don't even want it. The ERA, whatever. It's bad. 6+. But, like, does Sam Moll pitch more than 23 games next year?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's going to be kind of that
Brent Suter?
Well, I was going to say Barlow, but I don't think he pitches as much as Barlow. I think he's going to be
Barlow. He better be lights out.
I think he's going to yeah. And what's he look like? What's his contract look like? Can we bring him back? Like, is he going to be too expensive? Why not? He did well.
He hasn't been signed, right? So he's still up.
Go get him back. I could see 40 games out of Moll. I know, like, early in the season, he was just atrocious. I think he was injured, and his ERA ballooned in April, and when he came back around the time Burns came up, I believe it was the start in Philadelphia. I think it's what it was. Burns was having that bounce back outing from the Boston start, and he looked really well, but he kind of started to fade a little bit around, I think, 1 out in the 4th, or maybe 1 out in the 5th, and they brought in Mole, and I think he went an inning and a third, an inning and 2/3, no hit, no whatever, and he kind of started to turn it around. I'm gonna try to find his numbers on that just so I can get that right, but I do know that he really started to turn it around towards the end of the season.
Mhm.
And like he's not getting any younger. He turned 34 2 days yesterday. So
really?
Happy late birthday, Sam Mole.
Shout out to him.
Shout out Sam Mole. And yeah, I think 40 games. What he pitch in 2024, he pitched in 48. In 23, he pitched in 70. So yeah, I think he'll get close back to 2024. And you're not going to get much more out of him career-wise long term, just because he is getting older.
Yeah.
But let me find these splits here. In August, he had a 3.86 ERA in 11 games in 9 and a third innings.
Okay.
188 batting average against. April, he had a 667 batting average against him.
Wow.
July was 233. August was 188.
Okay.
So
trending the right way.
He was really bad, and then he got a lot better. So I think if he comes into the season healthy, I think we'll see. I'll say 45 games out of Sam Mole.
Yeah, we'd like to see that for sure. Not if he's in the 70 range, he's better. And he's having a heck of a year.
And he's going to be that first or second reliever out of the pen too. That you really need him. I think he's going to be that.
You don't think they're going to go first at Caleb Ferguson? Because when we had that show, I think when he just got traded for, it sounded like he's the guy first out, just based on his numbers and his skills. But I guess if he needs a day off, then maybe his Mole. So, but yeah, 45 sounds reasonable. Definitely don't want him in that 20 game range because that's either injury or really ineffective.
Yeah,
and I don't know, possible DFA scenario or just sitting in the minors, just trying to figure it out. I don't know. That doesn't sound good for the Reds bullpen. Obviously, the Reds had a great 2025 bullpen without him. But we're also missing a Barlow. We're going to be missing a Nick Martinez who can be a starter / bullpen guy. So the 2025, we still need arms, especially because, like you said, we got 2 lefties. That's it, unless we add somebody else. But, yeah, I don't know. I'd like to see him bounce back. He obviously was fantastic in 2023. This is why we trade for him, to get him out of that, Oakland. I think that was the last year of Oakland, right, in 2023.
Yeah.
So, so it's kind of crazy that he better not come in bad shape again and potentially injured coming into this season. It might seal his fate with this manager because it didn't sound like Tito was too happy with him at the start of spring training last year. So he better be on his P's and Q's, as they say. So, yeah. Any other thoughts on Sam?
No, I really hope he does bounce back because he was kind of like the weak link of the bullpen to start the year. And let's just say he pitched the way he pitched, in June and August. Maybe they don't blow a couple more leads like the Atlanta series where they had a couple blown leads. Where didn't they get swept in that? No, they didn't get swept. It was a 4-game series. They lost 3 out of 4, right?
Yeah, they won 1 of those.
Yeah, and maybe they win 2 out of that if he is you can rely on him coming in.
Yeah, hopefully that'd be great. I definitely would like to see that because he has had some good years or a good year and a half of Reds in his career or Reds seasons in his career. So we'd like to see him definitely bounce back for sure. Another guy that we hopefully will bounce back as well because he was injured all last season. Julian Aguilar, a guy that I think the Reds organization is high on, was a highly touted prospect. In 2024, he came up, made a couple starts or a handful of starts, and definitely kind of impressed a little bit, at least to see what he could be, what potentially he could be down the road. And unfortunately, was it the UCL or was that Williamson? Or they had the same.
I think they both had Tommy John. Yeah.
So usually now in today's day and age of baseball, Tommy John is a somewhat of a blessing because sometimes guys come back stronger, or at least maybe the technology has gotten good enough that they come back at least.
They come back more refined on their technique too.
Right. Whatever cow or horse tendon that they put in their arm or whatnot to replace their torn tendon. It must be working for, I mean, not every guy, but a lot of guys. So a guy like Julian Aguilar, who I think he's got here 7 starts in 2024, 31.2 innings. And that's a 6 ERA as well, but like the small sample size.
I think he had like that one bad outing.
Yeah.
That kind of made that look bad.
And this is his rookie, like first time up, right? I don't believe he was called upon before 2024. I think that the ceiling is high for him. He could be that guy, the Lyon Richardson emergency starter guy that you need to call up and bring up, and he'll be there in a jiffy on a jet plane, I guess, as well. Maybe like Richardson
with the commissioner.
But yeah, I don't know. Do you see him playing or starting more than 7 games in 2026?
That's tough because there's so many good starters for the Reds. I think he could. I think he could start 10 games, let's just say. If we're not, if we're going to keep an innings limit on Rhett Lauder and Chase Burns, especially more Lauder with him coming off of injury. But yeah, I mean, I could see that. I'm looking at his numbers just throughout the minors. 2023, he had a 216 batting average against him. In 2024, it was 256. And he kind of climbed through the ranks pretty quickly. Like he's been every year of his career, he's been 2 levels every year. So 2022, he debuted the season with Daytona, and then he gets called up to Dayton. 2023, he starts with Dayton and then gets called up to Chattanooga. 2024, he starts with Chattanooga, comes up to Louisville, and then eventually Cincinnati. So I like him a lot. I think I wrote about him a couple years ago. It was weird. Like it was a stretch where I was writing about somebody and they got called up like the next week. It was weird. I wrote about Chase Petty and 3 days later he got called up to AAA. I wrote about Aguilar and couple days later he gets called up to the majors. I'm like, what is going on? But yeah, I think I mean his AAA numbers were really good. 243 batting average against in 47 innings. ERA was a little high, 4.40, but 24 they were really struggling pitching wise. I think that was their down year on pitching, right? They had to bring up Lauder out of necessity. They brought up Aguilar out of necessity. If I remember right, Williamson got hurt first, if I remember, because it was within within a week or so of them getting hurt.
Yeah, that sounds right. I feel like Williamson's like in May, June. I don't know if that was maybe it wasn't that early.
Let's see. September 24th was Aguilar. He got called up August 19th, and the 21st is when his injury happened.
Oof. Okay.
So he made it a little bit over a month. And then
that stinks.
Yeah.
Welcome to the majors. Bye.
Right.
See ya.
Which sucks for a player like him because he's kind of like a Carson Spires in a way. just not overpowering, really relying on pitch mix and movement, and just being ineffective with his locations. And like, he's got potential to be a pretty a solid fourth or fifth starter if he can stay healthy. And if you, let's just say you have your rotation as Green, Lodolo, Abbott, Louder / Burns, Aguiar, like that's pretty good. And that's excluding Singer. That's excluding Chase Petty, if he can put it together. That's excluding who am I forgetting? Brandon Williamson. Like that's excluding some pretty serviceable pitchers. That's just a testament to how like the comments Crawl made about we can't trade a pitcher because we need to immediately go sign one. It's like, do we? Like, do we really need to? I mean, I get it. You want guys not on an innings limit, but couldn't you just innings limit all these guys together and just have a 6-man rotation? Like, I think we could make that work.
Yeah, for sure. I couldn't. You gotta have. You can't. What's the adage? You can't have enough good starting pitching, right?
Yeah.
And they have been drafting and developing decently enough to have some depth there. It seems like the one part of this organization that is pretty decent depth-wise. Obviously, I think I mentioned or texted you a while back, like maybe that the class of 27, maybe their pitching isn't as deep as it is currently, with obviously a bunch of really top-line guys that we have currently in the organization. But, we can worry about that at a later date. There may be guys that come out of nowhere and develop and all of a sudden are right there with that, Alfredo Deneau class, as I like to call it.
Because like Aguiar was more of that kind of came out of nowhere pitcher, so it can happen.
Yeah. Same thing with Spires to a little bit of extent, because he debuted and pitched a lot, and then 2024 kind of lost his way. 2025 lost his way again. So like some of these guys, like even like a Connor Phillips, who lost his way, went back and retooled. We don't know exactly what they're gonna be for this organization ultimately. We just hope that they keep plying their trade and keep at it to one day be just contribute to a winning ball club. You know what I mean? Like Ryan McChrystal said, like the way that Tito talks and motivates these guys, it makes you want to run through a wall. And I can't imagine that he's the only guy that feels that way, right? Like, so it definitely, I think the figurehead of Tito at the top, it trickles all the way down, and if this ball club can keep building on what they did in 2025, you know what I mean? Like, hopefully Aguiar is going to be a positive contributor. Hopefully, Sam Moll, positive contributor. All these other guys as well. Speaking of Carson Spires, though, as well, there was a news that broke on him. He's going to be a new father.
Nice.
Or father for the first time. Sorry, father for the first time. And that means he's going to have that Nick Lodolo, Tyler Callahan dad strength coming our way. So maybe put him on that bubble too. Maybe he's going to have another breakout potential season in this bubble list. So we'll see. We'll see. Any other thoughts on any of these guys, Aguiar or even Spires?
If I remember right, he had Tommy John Spires.
So I think you mentioned that before the show.
Yeah, because I think that's why he got DFA'd and then signed back to a minor league contract, because they kind of did in the service of like, hey, we're going to bring you back, but you're not going to be on the 40-man. Like, I understand that. But yeah, so Brandon Williamson's injury was on the 24th. So it was within 3 days of him and Aguiar.
Dang. Yeah, that was rough. It was a bleak time for starting pitcher. Started pitching in 2024. That's when Lyon Richardson had to be called upon a lot to save the day. A lot of Jacob Junis too.
Shout out Jacob Junis. What a pickup that was.
Hey, another bubble guy that we hadn't talked about. That maybe he's not a bubble guy. Maybe he's a guy that's going to come out of nowhere. Is a guy who used to make spot starts for us in 2024. Buck Farmer.
Hey,
he's still with the Reds org. So hey, pencil him in potentially down the road. I think it was me that said he's going to make the opening day roster, and that's not looking great.
Yeah, I would rather have him than Ian Jabot.
Well, Ian Jabot's see you later. the Great Britain announced their World Baseball Classic roster yet? Because I know they've been trickling in the Dominican one and the USA
I don't
one.
think so.
No, so we'll have to keep our eyes out for that on X when Ian Jabot gets called up to play for Great Britain. You know who's eligible to play for Italy? Italy? Sorry, I don't know why I said that.
Chase Burns, right?
Yeah, he was born in an airport or space or military base in Italy. So he could play for Italy potentially, which he's healthy, so they can't really stop him, right? I don't know if Italy knows he's eligible. Maybe that's the problem. So, but yeah, shout out to all those guys potentially being. And the Ellie news, is he on the roster or not? What are we doing here? Like, this feels like a unnecessary soap opera for this offseason, and there hasn't been really any clarity. Really looking. This is why we got to get some insiders. Where are our insiders at? Where's Reds Daily 4 getting on the insider track?
Yeah. Hey, C-Trit, is he going to do it or not?
He's got his own podcast. He could tell everybody on his own podcast with Danny Graves. Anyway, what is he doing? We got to figure out if Ellie's playing or not. You know what I mean? Obviously, that could.
So I think the last thing that I saw is that the Reds were just kind of hoping he was going to wait until they knew if he was healthy or not before he announced it. I think that's what it was.
So he's not healthy. Is what we're.
I think he's going to play.
It'd be disappointing if he doesn't, because he's an electric player, and obviously all the World Baseball Classics of the past, I've been seeing lots of highlights and stuff like that. It's the one time Miami can really fill their stadium, other than the Winter Classic hockey event. So it's kind of crazy that Miami is a happening place for baseball.
You know who's on the Great Britain roster?
No.
Aroldis Chapman.
No way. Oh yeah. He got that
because he defected from Cuba.
Yeah. Same with the Rosarena in Mexico. Yeah. Shout out to Rosarena.
My favorite comment on this post. If you Underdog MLB is a good Twitter follow.
Yeah.
They posted that from Francis Romero. Was the one that was the source for that, and this guy commented on team what?
Yeah, it's like, how, where? Yeah, it happens to a lot of Cubans, man. That's why I was interested to see that Cuba got cleared to. Well, I don't know. We'll see actually what happens in terms of all that. The geopolitical landscape's shifted a bit in the last couple of days, but not a politics show. We do want to talk about our guy who's playing down under, Ricky's favorite new prospect. Pablo Nunez has been kind of killing it. He, I don't think we mentioned it last show. He's an all-star. He got named an all-star team for the Aussie, what do they call themselves? The ABL, Aussie Baseball League. So shout out to Pablo. He also had a good day today, 2 for 5 and 2 RBI double and whatnot. And he's not the only one that's having a good season down there.
Yeah.
I did see, I think, with the Sydney Blue Sox that they're like way ahead in the standings. And I want to say they have a possibility of getting like home field advantage in the playoff. I'm not sure exactly how their playoffs work, but I just saw that in passing. I want to say Hervin Murillo, though, got taken off the roster. And
he had to go back to the U.S. That's why.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Brandon Jaime is another Reds prospect is now replaced him basically.
Yes. So Pablo, like we said, he's crushing it. And we could probably, what would you say, probably AA talent level, you think?
In Australia, sure, yeah.
Yeah. So he's got an 809 OPS, 333 batting average, 441 on base. Doesn't have a home run yet, but he's got 4 doubles. He's walking a lot. He's walked way more than he struck out. By 4 more times. But you've been posting the Hansel Jimenez highlights where, I still stand by my take. I see a lot of Brandon Phillips in that kid. Like he's very athletic. He's got some pop. Does he stay at shortstop? Does he move to second base? Like he kind of has that time frame that if McLean doesn't pan out, over the next 3 years, you possibly have a replacement at second base in Hansel Jimenez. Like that's not a crazy idea to think of, especially if Ellie's still going to be on the team. Now, if Ellie's gone, playing a short, unless he's awful. But yeah, it's like Pablo Nunez, man. He, I don't think I can say enough good things about the kid. Like he's just, from what I've personally talked to him about, he's extremely hardworking, constantly either working on something or just he's like he set the record for on base percentage in the DSL this past year. He had the highest on base percentage in the history of the DSL. Like it's crazy. Like that's, granted it was the second season, but it's not wild for players to play a second season in a DSL, especially for somebody who wasn't a very highly touted player to begin with when he got signed. Like he's 5'11", 145 pounds. Like he's a small, El Zorro. He's a small guy. He's a small little sneaky fox.
Yeah.
And I don't know. He like you said, he made the All-Star team. That's nothing to, that's a big deal for somebody that's his first time. He just got left the Dominican Republic for the DSL, goes to Arizona for a brief amount of time, then he goes to a totally different side of the world and goes to Australia. Like it's not easy to do at 19. Like that's incredible. I think he's gonna climb up these prospect rankings. He has to.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit before in some other shows. He and Carrick's probably said it as well. He might just skip ACL. The ACL is loaded. ACL is so many guys that are going to fight for not a lot of games in terms of that it should be. ACL season's got to expand. I think that's Carrick's.
I could see him and Hansel Jimenez skipping.
Hansel might be more difficult. I don't think he's as offensively refined. Like Hansel, gem every time he's out there, glove wise, and that's obviously that's going to have value for the Reds organization as well. Because if you could have him at second and have Steele Hall potentially at short, like you're talking
Edwin
about
Arroyo.
Edwin Arroyo.
Yeah, I mean that's, and then if Ke'Bryan Hayes is still on the team in 4 years, if he's still his defensive self at age 30,
that'd be interesting.
That would be crazy defense.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that'd be something that hopefully he can then go to the ACL, bridge off of that into Daytona, is my thought for Hansel in 2026. But yeah, it's just kind of crazy. He's lighting the world on fire over there because it can't be easy. They're not playing every single day either, which I don't know, it could be a blessing and a curse, but their team is just head and shoulders above the others. I mean, the second place team is Drew Davies' team, and he's playing really well as well, the Australian Reds prospect. But they're under 500. The second place team's 14 and 16. So, I think it's Sydney Blue Sox. So, it's their chance to win it all, and theirs to lose basically because they're killing it out there. And even though Murillo had to go home or back to the U.S., he had a decent season out there too, playing defensively at catcher. So I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. We're going to be obviously watching these leagues for you, so check that out. I think we made the joke a lot, but I think it's becoming more and more true. ACL is going to be our favorite part of the organization again.
Yeah.
But we'll be watching the DSL, seeing those guys out there. So stay tuned to this channel and whatnot for that type of content, talking about those players.
Yeah, we could talk about why, because we can name some players that are potentially going to be on the ACL roster. You're going to have Steele Hall, their first round pick's going to be in the ACL. Adolfo Sanchez, who is, other than Hector, is their highest outfield prospect. He's, I think, 11th on the top 30. Mm-hmm. Pablo Nunez. Who's the other guy that Joseph Martinez?
Oh, there's a whole list.
I mean, there's so many guys.
Carrick ran through
Aaron
a whole
Watson.
list of this before. It's loaded, man. It's so loaded.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. But and Carrick's talking about it. He listed some players in his group. So check out Cincinnati Farm System group on Facebook. They go through a lot of details with these guys. Talk about who deserve to be promoted to ACL. So it's DSL guys that are going up to the ACL. Yeah, so it should be good. Should be good. A lot of guys.
Torres.
Yeah.
I mean, Jervin Murillo.
Brandon Jaime, another ACL guy.
Ichiro Kano got called up to the Tortugas at the end of the year.
Right.
Christian Lopez. Let's see.
And a lot of these guys, DSL and ACL players, interact with the Instagram, from what I hear too, Ricky. So shout out to those guys. If you're watching or if you follow the show, we'll if you want to interact with the show, whatnot, let us know, guys, and we'll try to either get you on or we'll just chat you up and figure out something. Because I mean, it's kind of crazy how many players the Reds organization kind of employs or has in their system. But I want to say that from the players that we've talked to, McChrystal and Consul, they do it the right way. So
yeah,
glad that these guys are a part of it. Also want to shout out, I know that it's not a politics show, but hopefully that the guys that are in Venezuela are safe. Hopefully the Venezuelans that have family there, the guys, in our organization that have family there are safe as well. So we're really hoping that they can, prayers for protection for them, because it's kind of a crazy time, because these people they're not the government, just like we're not our government, but they have, they have their livelihood down there in Venezuela. It's kind of been upended.
Yeah.
So hopefully they're all safe down there.
Yeah, definitely. I have the ACL roster pulled up. Granted, there might be some changes on here, but listen to this outfield.
It's still
this
loaded.
Is wild.
Yeah.
This outfield gets me excited. Pablo Nunez, Eli Pitts, Adolfo Sanchez. Like that's exciting. And then you have infielders. You've got Antoine Valencia, Yalo Romero, Nabel Mariano, Hansel Jimenez, Steele Hall, Jalen Harrison, Ty Doucette, and Anilson Bhutan. So that's a good infield. I like that. And then you have your catchers. You've got Hervin Murillo, Dylan King, Brandon Jaime, Henry Hunter, Ian Francis, Yanuel Cassiano, and then your pitchers, Aaron Watson, Dive Vallenfana, Starlin Torres, Andrew Schaffner, Dominic Scheffler, Brian Salgado, Owen Pote, Luis Pimentel, Samuel Perez, Allende Pena, Naifri Payano, Braden Oswalt, Luis Marias, Kyle McCoy, Christian Lopez, like Jordan Lytle, Carson Latimer. Like there's some guys that are some notable players on this staff. I mean, I can go on, and that's not even counting guys that aren't even in the DSL that could get promoted. That's just guys that are actively on the roster today.
Yeah. Carrick also points out Johanser Calzado, the name to keep out an eye on for the outfield as well. So, yeah, we'll definitely be keeping out for those guys. I'm excited for baseball to come back. It's been long enough. I know, obviously, the Dodgers winning is not ideal, and the Red season not ending the way you'd like is not ideal. But you know what? New year, new hope, new situation. Hopefully, that will be not exactly that starting lineup that we had, but hopefully maybe a couple little more additions or whatnot. We'll see. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I don't know if you got any other thoughts about ACL, DSL. I feel like we go on that rant and do a whole show on that. We'll probably have to. You know what's going to end up happening? We did a minor league episode to start this year. I think, Ricky, we might have to break it up where we do episodes on DSL, ACL, Daytona, Chattanooga, and Louisville Bats. That
might be one of those things we'll have to try to do, like one every day.
Yeah,
because that, I mean, we could if we had the time. If we can, we can work out a schedule for that.
Yeah.
Because you could do, DSL Monday, ACL Tuesday, low A Wednesday, high A Thursday, double A Friday, triple A Saturday, Sunday, or whatever,
Yeah. Oh man, that sounds tiring. I'm already.
It does. I'm already sweating.
We're locked on, as you would say. So anyway, yeah. But yeah, any other thoughts of these guys or anything in the minors and whatnot that caught your eye?
No, I'm just excited. I like our guys in the ACL and low A a lot. A lot of the guys that we were super excited about in Dayton a couple years ago, they're really close to getting called up. The first one being Sal Stewart last year. We're probably going to see Hector Rodriguez at some point this year. Potentially Leo Balcazar, and my dark horse on that's Cam Collier. If I think he could have that Sal Stewart 2024, 2025, where 24 for Stewart had injuries and wasn't really healthy, didn't have as much power, and then this past season he has a career high in home runs and he's demanded to get called up. So I don't know. I'm excited. I like the guys we have.
For sure.
The minors.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Carrick says, yeah, we're the best of that. Hey, man, you help us out a lot as well. You're kind of an insider for us, especially your Facebook page. So we shout out you as much as we can and point them over to that because you guys put out a lot of good content about our minor league system, which we're really into. We like it. It's a big part of this show. We're glad to bring that information and stuff to you because, to be honest with you, the top team gets a lot of coverage, but there's a lot more that goes on below just the Reds top team in the majors. So yeah, it'll be a great year hopefully for all these guys. Maybe even have an interview. I forget, did we tease that last time? Maybe even have an interview coming up with a minor leaguer.
Yeah, I think we do.
All right, this month. So keep an eye out for that. I don't know if we've revealed his name or not, but he played for Daytona last year. So shout out to him. We'll hopefully get that in the books sooner than later. You know what? Shouldn't they have released or at least put out there what minor leaguers are coming to Reds Fest?
Should be soon. Should be very soon.
Got to reach out to our guys to see if they got an invite, and maybe they'll be there. So, yeah, that's coming up soon, and hopefully we'll get to see maybe some old friends for our Reds Fest coming up in 12 days. That's 12 days. Yeah. It's kind of crazy, but yeah. Any other thoughts before we sign off, Ricky?
No, just thanks everybody for tuning in. We're trying to get the audio more accessible. Eventually, we're going to try to get on iHeart and everything else. Shout out you for doing all the back end stuff on that because
right,
I'm not smart enough to do that.
I'm not either. I'm just trying to find people that are smart enough to get us hooked up the right way. But yeah, keep a lookout for that. Hopefully, we'll be getting on more platforms. We're gonna come at you a million different ways, just so you can't avoid us. Like that one guy that was in the comment section saying that he is not even into baseball, but somehow our stuff got pushed to the top. We'll take it anytime.
Shout out that guy.
Yeah, I forgot his name. I don't think he had a name. He had like a handle. But anyway, yeah, it's been a good first couple days of the year. Hopefully, the rest of 2026 will go pretty well for you, Ricky, and for the Reds. But yeah, if you got nothing else, we can do our thing and sign off. So
go Reds.
Go Reds.